but now you can.
Oh, okay. I tried a few times, but
So you're just gonna start recording without telling us?
I mean, when I enter the room, I always see if the record button works, and then I tell you, "Hey, we're recording."
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, well, now you
So,
know.
anyways,
I just want to say one thing to everyone.
go ahead.
Jasmine Rice.
Jasmine Rice, yeah, she's one of my favorite. Her and India Ari, that's one of my favorites.
I'm talking about the food item. I don't know about.
Oh, you don't know about Jasmine Rice?
I'm eating some.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're having for dinner?
Yeah, I'm having some jasmine rice and some. I forgot I'm on the phone with. I mean, on the Zoom with like several vegans. I'm always outnumbered in these situations.
I eat meat.
There's not several vegans.
Vegetarians.
phone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not a
There's
vegetarian.
There's not several vegetarians.
There's at least two.
There's one vegetarian and there's one vegan.
Okay. I mean, I don't
So
know
if anything,
why you got to make it so serious.
If anything, we're outnumbered.
I don't know why you got to get so serious about it.
I mean, hey, if you want to give us more power, that's fine.
No, I'm just saying. I didn't expect the thesaurus to come out.
I mean,
Well,
in all
now
fairness,
you know.
in all fairness, I don't eat that much red
Can
meat.
we go back to the previous subject about upstate New York? Flav?
Well, what I was
Sure,
saying.
I do enjoy arguing with you, Cynthia. Let's talk
Okay.
about upstate New York. Now, first
Here
of
we
all,
go.
I'm not from this area, so I actually know geography. I'm just telling you about.
Yeah,
other people.
so do I. I know exactly
do
where
I.
downstate and upstate is.
Everybody
are
in
you-
this room has lived upstate at some point in their life.
Exactly. I've lived downstate and upstate, just like you, Flav. And Emily.
And me. The only person around here who has not lived in upstate New York is Misha, and he's in the other room with his headphones on, so he doesn't count.
Mhm.
All right, he's from California. Anyway.
What about Kate? Oh yeah, that's right. Buffalo.
Is Katie in
enough.
Buffalo?
Close enough.
Oh.
Yeah. Buffalo.
Upstate New York is the portion of the United States of New York lying north of the New York metro area. The upstate region includes
I don't
most
need
of the land.
Are you
Hold
reading
on.
from Wikipedia?
I don't need a definition.
We already did this
you-
like a week ago or two, Cynthia.
I'm telling you how
Exactly what
wrong
you're
everyone.
doing.
I'm telling you how wrong New Yorkers are. I'm not telling you what the definition.
You guys are not wrong. Most people consider Westchester not part of upstate, is what I'm telling you. I guess that depends. If you're upstate,
depends
then
on
you
who you're
consider
talking
Westchester
about.
upstate.
If you're like, it depends on who you're talking about. Like,
I guess everyone wants to claim Westchester.
well, it depends on who you're talking about. Like, as far as like
Who you're
the hood-
talking about?
Yeah, the hood claims Westchester to be upstate.
The hood?
The hood.
What the fuck does that mean?
Oh, the streets of New
means-
York?
No.
Yeah, it means
There's no
that
way.
it's in the
Let me take a
neighborhoods-
survey tomorrow,
No.
okay?
Okay.
So do you want us to like go out on the street?
Yeah,
like,
because
tomorrow
I will
and
say
ask?
that we here in the greater Buffalo metropolitan area don't consider ourselves upstate. We actually consider ourselves Western New York.
Oh, you
But
guys
that's upstate.
Yeah,
Oh.
upstate actually knows geography. That's different. So you
might
gotta.
as well be in
That's-
Ohio.
That's upstate. You might as well be Canada.
Yeah,
You're
but
that close.
that's subject to interpretation. Like what you just read, I read. Me and Cynthia, Emily did the same thing like a couple weeks ago, and I posted a link where they depending on where you are, they differentiate. Like it's not a hard fact. It's just an interpretation based upon geography of the state. Some people interpret it as
So
upstate.
you consider yourself Western New York, not
Yeah,
upstate.
because right.
Well,
As
according
if
to the
Western
map.
New York is
We
not
do
the
not-
subset
we-
of
we do
upstate.
we call ourselves the Western New York or the greater metropolitan area. While it is understood that people in New York City or in downstate or wherever you guys call it call us upstate, we also and in some areas we do go by upstate, but for the most part in the greater Buffalo metropolitan area, we say we're from Western New York. And we're kind of recognized as Western New York or the greater Buffalo Niagara region.
I think
that's because upstate is so large, it forces you to have to differentiate between Western,
Exactly.
Central, or
Right.
Like Syracuse.
generally
and Utica
speaking.
is
Wait,
central.
can I say
Exactly.
something? Can I say something? That's actually kind of laughable, though. How can upstate be so large? We're talking about geography. That's
That's like
saying,
saying the United States, and to differentiate, you go by states.
well, it's like saying downstate. Downstate has to be as large as upstate, right? We're talking about up,
to
down.
me,
Well,
I
I mean,
always-
geographically, no.
To me,
And
I
there
always
are-
thought anything below Poughkeepsie was downstate. So
And there are other
figure.
ways to differentiate people who are downstate. There's Long Island, Suffolk or Nassau County. You have the boroughs. Like, I wouldn't just say I'm from the city. Sometimes I would specify. So just because you live in a specific part of upstate doesn't mean you're not upstate.
no, that's true. Like, I mean, my students, for example, would say they're from Queens, not they're from
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
New
technically,
York.
based upon you saying that just because you live in a specific part of upstate doesn't mean you're not upstate. Technically, anybody in any area of upstate can call the area below them downstate.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about like maps. Like, of course, according to a map, all of this is moot. Like, none of this makes sense according to a map.
Right.
Like downstate, there's only this tiny part is considered downstate, and then the rest is considered upstate. When according to a map, that's not even true. If
Right.
you
Well,
ask a New
depending
Yorker-
on what map, even the term state might not be relevant. So, I mean,
yeah, but
we're
most
talking
people,
about current
most,
times.
most people don't. That's not their knowledge of what is considered upstate. It's just New York City is a very New York City minded place, and everything outside of them is considered somewhere else, which is okay, but that's the joke about the upstate downstate thing.
Well,
and I bet
everywhere
you-
outside of New York City is somewhere else. It's somewhere other
It's
than
not
New York City.
Exactly.
it's upstate. So I bet you that like no one even, if you said the term Western New York, no one would even know what you're talking about. Down
Yeah,
there.
they
That wouldn't
would.
even-
No, yeah,
People
they
have
would.
heard of Buffalo. It's a major city in New York.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, you mean upstate?"
It is an upstate, though. Western part of upstate.
Clearly, it's all a matter of
They
semantics.
they would just be like, "Oh, okay, you meant upstate. I got you. I have no idea where this Western New York you're talking about is."
Yeah, because I had to correct Emily because she kept saying upstate to me, and I'm like, I live in Western New York. Remember Emily?
Yes.
Like I was
yes.
confused because I like
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You can agree with me every once in a while. It's okay.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, how y'all say pop and we say soda.
I say both.
Yeah, they kind of got both going on there. Buffalo's weird like that. They
Well,
got
it's
both.
it's the border. You get like Buffalo
Yeah.
might as well be Ohio, guys. Come on.
I prefer Canada.
Well, yeah, but you got to admit that you're closer to Toronto and Cleveland both than to New York City.
Yeah, they actually get a lot of beer. They actually get a lot of Canadian beer in Buffalo.
Yeah.
True. True story.
I mean, but New York City is like at the bottom of the state.
Yeah,
we got
population.
Canadian beer in Utica too. That doesn't say anything.
Well, Utica's also upstate.
Utica's
Yes,
also
it is.
also very close to Western New York.
Yeah.
Closer than here.
Well, very close. We're talking, a couple hours drive.
Well, yeah, because if you would consider like Rochester up Western New York.
No, we don't.
No,
was
Rochester,
thought
isn't
it
that
was-
central New York?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
closer to-
Rochester, Syracuse, Utica are central. But like, I seem to remember it being like a 4-hour drive to Buffalo.
From Rochester?
No, from Utica.
No, Syracuse is 4, and Utica's halfway between Syracuse and Buffalo.
No, and Syracuse is partway between Utica and Buffalo.
Say again?
Wait, no, it's not.
No, you get to Utica before you get to Syracuse.
No, you get to Syracuse before you get to Utica.
No, we drive to Syracuse every other week. You get to Utica first.
Oh, from Buffalo, you.
Yeah, from
No.
Buffalo.
You get to Utica first coming from New York. Like,
Oh, I'm talking
So
from
you're
Buffalo.
both- yeah, you both are right.
Yeah, see, Ish, he's talking from New York. Everything is about New York.
so, no, it goes. I have the train stations memorized. It goes Goes Albany, Utica, Syracuse, Rochester, then Buffalo.
Yeah, but for us, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
We go
Yeah, you're
Rochester,
both right.
Buffalo. Yeah, we go Rochester's an hour away. Utica's 2 hours away. Syracuse is 4 from Buffalo.
No, Syracuse is
Wait.
2 hours away, and Utica is 4 hours away.
From New
my
York
God.
City.
From Buffalo.
No, it's not.
Utica's closer.
No,
No, it's not.
Syracuse
than
isn't 2 hours.
Syracuse.
Syracuse isn't 2 hours
Syracuse is
away.
4 hours away. We
Yeah.
drive there every other week.
Maybe you're taking a longer route.
No, you can't.
When
you
we
can't
pass
get there in 4
Utica.
hours. No,
You can't get to Syracuse in 2 hours.
no, definitely not. That would have been
Google
nice,
it.
but
It says 2 hours, 22 minutes on Google Maps from Buffalo to
You cannot get to Syracuse in 2 hours from driving from Buffalo.
This is what Google's saying.
Okay.
2.5 hours.
from where to
Okay.
where?
From Buffalo
From
to Syracuse.
That's what it says, from Buffalo to Syracuse.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, it takes 4 hours. We go there every other week.
Maybe you should take a different route.
I mean, if you want us to take like country roads, we're taking the interstate. I mean, there is traffic.
The I-90
Yeah, the I-90,
or I-190.
Seems
the interstate.
I'm sending you a map of New York to show what I'm trying to say.
I thought people in upstate knew geography, Flav. Seems
People
like
in
there's
upstate?
a bit of art.
Well, he's not in upstate. He's in Western New York.
Oh my God, that's all
Seems-
upstate.
But
So what is considered upstate then? Because there's Central New York, there's
I
Western
guess-
New York.
I guess
don't know where
Rensselaer?
Albany is.
maybe Catskills, Rensselaer. I don't know.
Seems
Places people go.
So wouldn't the Catskills be the Catskills?
I don't know. Places people go hiking and
see now. Look, go
Being-
east to west, or go west to east on the map I just sent. It goes Buffalo, Rochester.
Oh yeah, Utica
Syracuse,
is
Utica,
farther.
and then Albany.
so I think the problem with the well, first there seems to be a huge discrepancy between different ways you can take, but maybe some of it doesn't take the traffic into consideration, because I'm seeing everything from 2 hours and 26 minutes to 3 hours and 32 minutes via US 20A E and I-90E.
So
is the
traveling,
longest.
I understand what this map says, but traveling from Buffalo, we are closer to Binghamton, Elmira, and Utica than we are to Syracuse.
Oh, you're talking about like going down and around, basically.
We have to go the way the interstate takes us.
What interstate are you taking?
Like, come on. Are you telling us there's another one that'll take us directly to Syracuse?
Yeah, 90.
The I-190, the I-990, or the I-90?
The I-90.
So again, if you're traveling to Syracuse, you're going to go, you're going to travel towards Elmira, then to Utica, and then to Syracuse. Like that's the way you're going to travel.
That's not the way we traveled. We went like directly west
Okay.
from Utica.
From where?
From Utica. We went Utica, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo
Okay.
on the thruway.
Why did I just confuse? And when I said that we're closer to Utica, I meant Elmira and Ithaca.
Oh yeah.
Oh, see, so there you go. That's the confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just putting that on the map. You've got Herkimer and Rome and Oneida over there. Cicero.
I always thought Utica was closer, or Ithaca was.
You're talking like a robot again. We can't hear you.
You always thought Utica was closer to something.
Yeah.
Syracuse.
Utica is closer to Syracuse than Buffalo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, but I thought it was like closer. Like,
No, they're not right
neighboring
next door to each other.
I
They're
thought
not.
you're from Syracuse.
Me?
You keep saying you're from Syracuse.
Well,
I thought you were from Syracuse, Cynthia.
No, why the fuck would I be from Syracuse? I
Didn't-
went to Syracuse.
who's on first?
Yeah, she went to school there.
Syracuse University.
Yeah.
You were an Orangeman.
Yep.
Well, I wonder if they're going to get rid of that now.
I mean, Syracuse.
Yeah,
is
I
so,
think a while ago they were making the.
So what are they going to? What are they going to be? What are they going to be?
The
now?
orange. We are the orange.
Just as in the
God,
fruit,
this AC is.
the Syracuse
Something's
orange.
wrong.
Good evening.
Wait a minute. So wait. So is it going to be the Syracuse oranges?
The Syracuse Orange people.
was
That doesn't-
Irish pride, right?
It's
They
the
got to stay orange.
That doesn't sound.
The fighting orange.
Something
But I mean,
like that.
Syracuse is super Irish. I don't see them giving up their Orangeman Irish pride.
No, the Orangeman isn't from Irish people. It's from Native Americans.
Yeah.
No, the Orangeman is from Irish people.
Oh my god.
What happened,
The
Cynthia?
Orangeman is from Irish people.
Jesus, I feel like
Well, yeah,
I never
Northern
heard
Ireland. Northern people.
One of my
from
best
Northern
friends was
Ireland.
an
Yeah,
orange.
I don't know where you got Native American from. Orange and green are Northern Ireland is orange.
Okay.
Syracuse is an Irish town, and that's hence the reason why the Orangemen, because of Irish pride.
And that's why there's so many
I never
bars.
knew that.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with Native Americans.
Yeah, they flag is
Everything
orange,
to
white,
do
and
with
green.
Irish
Ain't it?
pride. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess they won't get. I guess they'll get to keep it then.
I mean, unless I complain, because like I have the right to complain about people discriminating against the Irish.
Well, I mean, the Irish discriminate against the Irish.
Well, yes. That's just history. But don't you remember I said history was not my best subject?
Ah.
history's hard.
Yeah,
See, I
Irish.
didn't have problem with the memorizing because like I don't have memory problems. At least I didn't have memory problems.
No
But
short-term memory problems.
no, actually I don't. Like I still have a pretty good memory. But like so the memorizing was never the issue. It was like English and social studies were never my thing because I took everything way too literally. Like
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so there. Now I see why there was some confusion, because the Syracuse mascot was originally a Native American character named the Saltine Warrior.
Yes.
Syracuse.
yeah, because Syracuse is the salt city.
Right. Big Chief Bill Orange. Maybe that's where I got it. Maybe it was just embedded from a long time ago. So they just got rid of the mascot, turned it into an orange.
But no, Cynthia, I'm not. I used to say Syracuse because it was like the closest, like
Big city to you?
well, what I defined big city was like the closest airport.
Oh, okay. Do you have to fly into Syracuse if you wanted to fly close to home?
Yeah, that's the closest we could get.
So you'd
Sometimes-
have to drive from Syracuse to Utica?
Syracuse has an airport.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a small airport.
Yeah.
It's a baby airport.
It's kind of refreshing to go to that airport. I remember the first time in like forever I went there, and it kind of brought back memories. But it's a very low key airport.
Yeah, it's pretty dead.
I've never.
Yeah,
been.
I mean it's good though. You don't have to like go all the way from A to Z just to catch your
Yeah,
plane.
you
You
don't.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nah,
but the
there.
problem.
Everything's right there.
Yeah, everything's right there. You pull up and you pull out in your plane. There's no like, you gotta go.
Doesn't Buffalo
gotta go-
have an airport?
Yeah.
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 No, but the annoying thing with the airport at Syracuse used to be that, like, if there was a problem with your plane, good luck getting another plane. Your
Mhm.
flight's
wow.
going to be delayed for ages.
Plane.
Yeah, I feel like
You
they
don't wanna
were.
be delayed
I never
there.
really had that problem though. I feel like, they were doing their thing over there.
Well,
Had some good engineers over there.
in general, like, I never had that problem. I did get caught with a flight that got delayed 2 hours
Hmm.
because of a snowstorm, which, is just what happens in Syracuse. And, like, long story short, I ended up spending the night in O'Hare.
Mhm.
Chicago.
Yeah. Because what happened is that, like, my connection from Syracuse, like, my flight from Syracuse was like 2 hours late. And I missed my connection. And there wasn't going to be another connecting flight until the next morning.
Mhm.
So you just went to
So-
sleep in
So you had to go to
Chicago here.
O'Hare. Yeah.
So I had to stay in Chicago because there wasn't a flight to San Jose until the morning.
Yeah, I had a crazy situation in Rochester back in the day that really, really pissed me off. Like there was one bus I was on.
As much as Wyckoff Hospital.
No,
Doctors.
nothing. No, nothing. Not much comes close to that. But the situation was a connecting bus, one to the other, and like while we're on this bus, you could just tell the time is really close. And I'm asking the bus driver, like, "Hey, are we gonna make this connection?" And she's just waving me off, like, "Oh no, it's all good. Like we had this planned out." And like, lo and behold, we get to where we're going, and the other bus is left. And I'm like, what happened? And she's, giving me the runaround, like, oh, you got to talk to the other people. I think this was like when,
The other people.
The other
yeah,
people.
because there was Greyhound and Trailways were kind of combining trips. It was a bad idea or a really horrible execution. And so you would complain to Greyhound, and they would point at Trailway and say it was their fault. You'd go to Trailway, and they'd be like, "Go
They'd
back
send
to
you back to
Greyhound.
Greyhound.
It was their fault." And I was like,
Oh
"No,
my
you guys
God.
got to get your shit together.
I
Like,
fucking hate Greyhound. I
Like,
used
you
to
guys
take it
work
like
together.
every month.
The Iron Dog.
Yeah, I don't remember there being any problems before they started working together. So it was kind of not a good situation. Luckily, I had a friend in the area who I got to hang out with for a bit, but they didn't care. Like there was no giving me a voucher for a hotel or like anything. It's just like sleep in the bus
Of course
station
not.
until your next
So it wasn't.
bus comes the next day.
So it wasn't. It wasn't quite like my lovely experience in London either.
London.
Nope.
That airport in Manchester is awesome. I'm sorry. Just
Don't
wanted
get
to
me
say that.
That's not an
started.
interest.
Do not get me started about the damn London Heathrow Airport.
I love it.
What happened? What's wrong
Well-
with it?
I love Heathrow.
I think we had this. I think we might have had this conversation on the group chat, but the thing is, I learned the hard way that whenever you have a connecting flight at Heathrow, that you should allow like 3 hours in
Yeah,
between.
for sure.
Why?
Well,
Heathrow's huge too, but you can have fun in Heathrow. You can go have drinks. You can, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
no, but like what happened to me is like where was I coming? Madrid, that's where I was coming from. And my flight from Madrid to London got delayed
Mhm.
because the Spaniards couldn't get it together.
Mhm.
Like, I like Spain.
Spain was
But-
pretty awesome. It's racist, but it's awesome.
I like Spain, but my God, are they fucking inefficient? Like, they delayed the flight to London by like an hour and a half because they couldn't find like a stairway to like, they couldn't find an available like portable stairway for us to climb into the plane.
You're talking about a
What?
country that eats pre-dinner, right? Like they eat dinner before dinner. Like
Yeah.
they're that laid back. You know what I mean? Like
And they have siestas, right?
Yeah, and they have siestas.
yeah.
But like they're but like basically
Sounds like they don't have enough stairways. It's the real problem.
no, they have no sense of urgency.
Yeah, they're very laid back in
Well, that's
Spain.
just the culture, though.
Super
Well,
racist,
it's like-
but very
it's like
laid
the-
back.
That's like the problem is someone was like, let's make just enough stairways, or we can share. I'm sure we can share stairways. I'm sure there's not going to be a problem.
And that's the-
And
I mean, they
should
get
have someone
active.
like,
They get active when they let the bulls run.
I mean, otherwise Spain is like, otherwise the Spaniards are like akin to like a bunch of stoners.
Yeah, it's
Like-
party. Yo, their beach party, like party.
Oh,
But
hell
at any
in
rate,
Ibiza,
so-
let's go.
Ibiza, yeah.
Anyway, so they caused my flight from Madrid to get delayed by an hour and a half. So I get to London, and because I'm, I guess, leaving like whatever, like the Schengen area in Europe, I have to go through security again. And I set off the British metal detector with some semblance of fake metal somewhere in my body.
It has to be the British metal detector, huh? It can't just be the metal detector.
It's fucking racist, Emily.
The metal detector in,
The
what is
British
that like,
metal
Alice?
detector.
Is that like Alice Cooper, or what is it?
the Heathrow, the metal detector in Heathrow, when I had to go back through security, it did not like
Yeah, either way,
it did not like my piercings. So
Oh yeah.
They're not supposed to be so sensitive to pick up piercings. I
well,
walked through
I don't know
Detroit
what the
before.
hell it didn't like, but
These are
I-
post 9/11 metal detectors.
yes.
Yeah.
But I had to take off my I had to take off my earrings and go back through. They had to wand me like
They probably had you on
9/11.
film,
Yeah, probably. The
cross-referencing your face with like satellite data.
uh,
I'm serious though.
they had to run like a metal detector wand over me and find that like that it was beeping around my belly button, and that's why I was setting off their damn metal detectors with my fake metal piercing.
It's the reason why I won't drive to Detroit through Canada, even though it's quicker.
Why?
Customs.
Because custom. Like I get it depends. It's random, right? So like every other trip to Canada,
Yeah.
I get pulled over and detained for an hour
Shocking.
without and there's no explanation. An hour later, they just give me my ID and my paperwork back and send me on my way because of my name,
What's your name?
Ishmael Hamid X
Uh-huh.
Mabins.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a quote unquote random search.
Yeah, that happens to Tarek too.
They'll ask for my license. I'll give them my license, and then they'll come back 10 minutes later and ask me to get out of the car, and they'll take me to a room and sit me in the room, and an hour later they'll give me all my stuff back and tell me I can go.
Wait, so what's your full legal name?
Ishmael Hamid X Mabins.
That's
And
enough.
pulling the,
Wait, so it actually says the letter X on your birth certificate?
Yeah.
pulling the military ID thing doesn't speed things up.
Nope. Listen, so when I used to send comic books internationally, I used to have to send them in my wife's name because when I would send them in my name, they'd hit customs and they'd get open. And these are like expensive comic books that need to get to the person I'm selling to in mint condition. And customs would just open it because of my name.
Oh, damn.
When I first signed up for PayPal in the early 2000s, I signed up for PayPal, did everything I was supposed to do, and PayPal refused me, sent me a letter telling me that I needed to provide them 6 more forms of ID because of my name. And this was like maybe 2 years after September 11th. So like they had to cross-reference my name on international terrorist checklists.
Meanwhile, you know
crazy.
who wasn't doing that? HSBC and other banks who are openly, doing business with terrorists. Meanwhile,
But the
making
thing
their own
is, Mike, what
citizens.
what would aggravate me, and I would tell them, I'm like, listen, I served the United States military. I deployed. Like, not only do y'all know my name, y'all have my DNA on microfiche in Kentucky. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I am a veteran on veteran status, have veteran ID card. Like, you know who I am.
Like,
Yeah,
why are
but we
we
still
going through
gotta.
all this?
Yeah,
Like, why are we going through all this nonsense here?
Yeah, it sounds like one hand doesn't know what the other's doing.
right,
Because
right.
they don't.
Yeah, they definitely don't. Anybody ever see that good TV show they had like last year about what happened leading up to 9/11 when
Well,
the
before I just want to say something real quick. After
yeah.
Mike is done with this, Cynthia, you're going to go on the hot seat.
What?
I said after Mike is done with this, you're going to go on the hot seat.
What do you mean?
I'm getting in moderator mode, and my first questions are for you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
It was just basically a show showing you how the FBI and CIA couldn't get its shit together, and they were arguing with each other hard, like they were really, you know, like going at each other, kind of doing the pissing contest, and at the end of the day, a lot of stuff got messed up because one organization does things one way and the other does it the other way. They're stepping on each other's toes, and have they actually listened to each other? I forget. It kind of paints one of those organizations as being much more in the know and reasonable. I feel like the FBI is the one that messed up, but it's been a while since I've seen the show. But it's a pretty good one. It's got some good actors.
Well, it's kind of like how the feds and the CIA and local authorities just aren't cooperative with each other,
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
which
Well,
just
yeah,
doesn't
no,
make
they
sense
don't
to me.
talk.
Like, I don't get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This grudge they have with each other. All right. So in our previous conversation in Messenger, we were talking about harassment and well, you guys know what we're talking about. So Cynthia, you expressed frustration, right?
She walked away.
Oh, she bounced?
Oh, while she does that, I'm going to grab my laundry real quick.
I mean, you could ask me a question.
I'm going to ask you some questions. I told you, I got some questions.
You got questions? Well, maybe I'll have answers.
Yep, I have questions for you too.
I can't promise there'll be good answers, but
Hold on, I'm back. Hold on. I had to clean my filters.
was something wrong with your air conditioner?
Or your fish tank?
Probably more likely the air conditioner. Like, now is not the time to be without air conditioning.
Humidifier.
Her
Okay,
carpet.
I'm back.
Okay, so Cynthia, we were talking about harassment earlier on some level, right?
Okay.
And you expressed frustration with being seemingly harassed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is on a regular basis?
All the time.
And how do you react?
I ignore them. I wish I could do more legally, but I can't.
So now what type of harassment are we talking? Are we talking like actual?
Just talking to me.
Are you antisocial?
No, but it's like the way that they do it. Like, look, unless you experience it, you don't understand.
No, I'm asking you because I've been there. So that's why I'm asking you. I'm not laughing at you at all. Like, I've been there. I never anywhere on the level that women are harassed, for sure. So sometimes I hate even saying it because, it's kind of like when women, when we talk about women being abused and a guy says, oh, well, men are abused too. And it's like, dude, are you serious? the purport, not saying that it's okay. What we're saying is like the proportions are nowhere near the same, right?
Right.
So I totally understand that. Like, I didn't even understand it. I said something earlier and you were like, most guys look at it differently because of attention. So like when I'm training though, sometimes like I understand when a woman can say, some guy made me feel like a piece of meat. It doesn't feel good, right? Like, and I've been there. I've been in situations where, you know, people say things to me that I don't necessarily appreciate. And mind you, a lot of times I'm flattered, but sometimes, like if I'm just training and I'm just going for a run and someone's like, will you be my dad? Or, stuff like that. Like, it's gross. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not complimentary to me. And or so I kind of get it, when women, y'all get catcalled. So that's why I'm asking you specifically, like, could you try to explain it?
Try to explain what?
Like how it makes you feel.
Disgusting. Like, what is the point of saying something to me like that?
Is there ever a time when you're flattered? And I'm gonna
No, because they're always fucking ugly ass gross men. If
But
they were
like
attractive,
creepers?
I'd be like,
is that what you're
shit.
saying?
Huh?
So that's what
They're
I'm getting at.
creepers?
Like and here's the thing, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
And
like,
yes, the big difference between being a creeper and not being a creeper is how attractive you are. 100%.
That's okay, because that's what I was gonna say, because I often say there's a very thin line between love and stalkerism. And what I mean by that is, if a guy finds you to be attractive and he sends flowers to your job or something, right? If you find him attractive, like
It's
that
not
was
creepy.
it was cute and it wasn't creepy, you know what I mean? But if you don't find him attractive, it's like, this guy's stalking me. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean,
like,
it
this is
also
creepy.
depends on like what relationship you have. If it was a complete stranger, I think no matter how attractive they were, if they were to try to hit on me that intensely, that would be fucking creepy. Like, there are some levels that attractiveness just does not fix. Whereas if it was like a regular looking guy and like we have good conversations and they think it's something that it's not, and then they try to hit on me by sending me flowers, I think that would be romantic, because it's like, okay, well, I understand it. So it's not always about looks.
So the talk show host, he's a comedian from South Africa. He also does like political commentary. Black guy. Trevor Noah. So I was listening to an interview with Trevor Noah recently, and he is an employer. He has people working for him, and he was talking about how he was on 106 in Park, or on the Breakfast Club, excuse me, and he was talking about how he concluded that sexual harassment comes down to consent, meaning it's if you don't consent to it, then it is absolutely harassment. And he used a situation where two of his employees are currently married, but before they got married, he would like bring her gifts, right? And when Trevor Noah found out about it, he said he had to put a stop to it, even though she consented to it, because in the workplace, it could be perceived as harassment. And he said that the person, like, say I'm giving you gifts, Cynthia, and you accept them and you consent to them. Well, Emily, who sits next to you, may feel like it's harassment and be offended by it, even if you don't. You understand what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is like some busybody could put their nose into it and think it's harassment, even if the person it was directed towards doesn't think that way.
Listen, when I got a lot of hospital stories because I work, they're relevant to me because I was a minority as a male in that environment. And I remember a friend of mine who's still like one of my closest friends to this day, my friend Danny. Her and I are very close, so we joke around. We're always laughing. We always take breaks. We're still close to this day. So a nurse floated into our zone and saw the way that we interacted. And 2 days later, I was called into one of the supervisor's office, and it was brought to my attention that, Ish, somebody accused you. Listen, this is how deep it goes. Somebody accused me and Danny of sleeping together.
Oh God.
People are just so
Just
jealous and nosy.
yo, straight up. And I'm like, okay, well, we're not. But if we were, so
Yeah.
like, what are we doing here? Like, obviously, we're not sleeping. We weren't. I mean, I'm married. My wife works in the hospital. I've never see Danny that way. However, what are we doing here? Like, what do you mean? We're sleeping together at work? No. Well, then why am I having this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, why am I in your office? I'm going back to my desk now.
Like, this is a he said, she said situation.
And even if we were sleeping together, like, so?
And it's really
Your
the
business.
business of the two parties involved. Like a third party shouldn't even have a say.
Well,
I'm
unless
not
it's
part of
going
this
on like
conversation.
in the workplace.
Well, I mean, in the scenario that you explained,
No, that was
with
just
Trevor
someone being
Noah's
a busybody.
coworkers, like, yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like it shouldn't. Their opinion shouldn't matter because they're not even in the equation.
I think I brought that up though because Trevor Noah was saying that as a boss, it's not even that he solicits their opinion, that he has to circumvent them from having an opinion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in the workplace it gets a little tricky, especially if people are working in the same department. If things get ugly, you know, it
Or
could
if one
ruin
person
productivity.
supervises another
Yeah,
one.
exactly. But if two people are working together in different departments and they're completely independent of each other, like I don't understand why workplace relationships are just frowned upon.
Or what?
I've hooked up with coworkers before.
Maybe it's because like you have to see the people afterwards, so if shit goes astray.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people tend to flock towards or engage in relationships with. A lot of times they're convenient and based on like location, right? Like
Yeah.
it's highly probable you're going to date someone you're in school with, or it's highly probable you'll go out on a date with someone that you work with, or someone that lives in your community. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think that you get a broader base based upon geography, right? Like the person who travels across the country twice a month increases the odds of, or increases the number of dateable people in their circle.
Absolutely.
That's why I never bought like the idea of like soulmates. I'm like, no, you end up with people that you're around. Like, just make it work. There's no such thing as soulmates.
Well,
You
yeah,
think it
we had
just
this
so
conversation recently.
happens
Go on.
that all your soulmates are just living near you?
I don't believe in
Nice.
soulmates at all. I don't believe in true love. Me and you had this conversation though, Cynthia. Like, I just don't believe in it at all. We've had this conversation on Messenger and on air. I don't believe in that because I think you can develop feelings for more than one person. Like if you meet someone in your area and you feel some way for them, well, what happens when you go live halfway across the world? There's just too many people on Earth, in my opinion, for you to just find just the one. There could be 10 the ones. You know what I mean? There could be
Well, that's why
100.
you don't. That's why you don't, settle. Don't fit. That's the way I think.
You're just gonna have a harem.
If you're not ready
No.
to commit, you
That's
shouldn't
my job.
commit. That's all I'm saying.
So, one more question. I got some questions for Emily too. So, when you are in these situations, when you're harassed, I'm talking about by people actually approaching you, not necessarily just like staring at you for longer than they should.
Yeah.
How do you handle them? Are you Cynthia?
No, I just ignore them.
Oh, you don't really? We get the dose of Cynthia, and the guys who actually harass you get ignored?
Well, because if you acknowledge them, then you give them what they want. They want a reaction out of you. I just ignore that. I have my headphones in. I know they're trying to say something to me. I don't hear what they say, but I know they're trying to like whisper something. Because you can hear some noise, but like to react, that's exactly what they want. This is what these sick, wet trash bags of men are trying to get out of you when they try to harass you. They want to get a reaction. I'm not going to give it to them. Absolutely not. And if I could legally pepper spray them, I've actually Googled this. It's not legal, by the way, unfortunately. If I could legally do it, I would spray their fucking face. Pepper spray.
Okay, so let's
God, I wish.
give me your definition of harassment. I just want to be sure I'm understanding what we're saying here. So, are you saying that if somebody compliments you, says something to you, or tries
Yes.
to even talk to you, that's harassment?
Absolutely. Because it's unwanted. I don't want it. Don't fucking talk to me. I have my headphones in and I'm walking by for a reason. Or if you try to talk to me and I ignore you, there's a reason I don't want to talk to you.
So
Like
in
when I
other
walk
words, it's
past
like when
you
they're
and you whisper in my ear,
persistent.
I don't want you to do that. That's fucking disgusting. Don't
Now,
whisper in my
same?
ear.
Is this the same for you, Emily?
Huh?
Is this the same for you? Like, say somebody gives you a compliment.
Yeah.
Is that harassment for you?
I don't think it's harassment if they give me a compliment and don't persist, like after I say thank you and keep walking. Like if they
It depends on the compliment. If I'm walking by and someone's like, I like your shoes, like, oh, thank you. That's a compliment that I would accept and be like, and I would respond to. But it's when they're like, oh, hey, sexy mama, or something like that.
Well, that's
Just
not a
general
compliment to me.
phrase, like,
yeah, that's
Hey,
not a
sexy
compliment.
mama is not a
Okay.
compliment.
Yeah, that's not.
But yeah, these guys aren't complimenting like my dress or my shoes or my hair. They're saying things like that. Like, hey, you're beautiful. Ooh, it's just creepy. I don't like it.
Like if somebody says to me like, oh, those are some cool Jordans that you're wearing, or like,
Yeah, that's a
you
sick
know,
compliment.
or like, you know, I like your hair, like whatever. Like I say thank you. Like it crosses the line. Like if they keep talking and get creepy, but like a plain old compliment, no.
What, see, Emily, and check me, please. Check me if I'm wrong. You strike me as the type of person that would compliment.
That would give a compliment, you mean?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she absolutely strikes me as the type of person that would give a compliment.
I've never
maybe
heard her give a compliment.
that's not true. Not to strangers, but
Emily, when have you complimented somebody?
I'm sure I have.
When?
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
I just
You can't think of it the last time. I mean,
well,
not that that's a bad thing. It's
He's
just
like,
not
wait,
everyone
what?
goes out of their way to compliment.
You're actually nice to people? Like, huh, Emily?
No. You don't have to compliment someone to be nice.
I know, I'm being ish.
I mean, no, like, but no, I have complimented people, like, you know, but not strangers, like people I know, like, you know, I'll compliment, like, you know, because like I'm into sneakers, like I'll compliment, like if one of my students has like really cool sneakers, or anyone else. Wait, hold on a sec though, Cynthia, you weren't there for that. I'd definitely given a compliment on air even before.
What was the compliment?
You weren't there. I think it was one of the few times we actually saw Ish's.
Oh, when you complimented my shirt?
Yeah, the Star Wars shirt.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
But
Yeah.
like, anyways, I mean, I'm not against giving compliments. I just don't usually give them to strangers.
Yeah, that's weird.
I just don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
Like,
I compliment people in my head. Like, oh shit, that dress is so cute. I don't say it to them.
Like,
unless I'm on some type of substance that would make me say that.
like my parents read the Berenstain Bears Don't Talk to Strangers to me way too many times for
Like
me
what
to
kind
want
of
to give
substance?
compliments
What
to
kind of
strangers.
substance?
Like if I'm rolling
Alcohol.
or if I'm like really drunk.
If what?
If I'm rolling or if I'm really drunk.
Okay.
Okay, so based upon the definition that we've established of harassment, have either of you been guilty of that?
Yes, I mean I told you when there's like there is a double standard when it comes to like men like hitting on women and women hitting on men. Women get away with a lot more because they're seen as less threatening. They're just not taken as seriously because normally women don't hit on men. You know, it's usually like the man's job to like do the hunting.
Yeah, that's
And yes,
true.
I've done things that like in hindsight I'm like, fuck, I really shouldn't have done that. But you know, it is what it is.
So I've only noticed the double standard, and I've been guilty of what we defined as harassment for sure in my life. But I've only noticed the double standard that you're describing in situations where like men are the minority, i.e. like a hospital situation, strippers, and like what I mean by strippers is like I had a friend, she was a female stripper, she was a woman stripper, but she used to tell me all the time like men get the things that women do to male strippers, men could never do to women strippers.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no.
Don't you mean
no,
dancers?
dancers, strippers,
You're
however you
allowed to
want to.
touch the male dancer.
Yeah,
Not their crotch, but you could touch them.
she used to tell me like her male coworkers would go to the hospital with like scratches on their back. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like she used to tell me, she was like the things that, you know, that women can get away with.
Oh,
a
you mean the
man could-
female dancers can get away
No.
with versus the male dancers?
No.
The
So
customers.
the female customers can get away with
Yeah.
with male strippers that a male could never get away with a female stripper. Like a male customer could never get away.
Yeah.
You know, and also in correctional facilities.
Well, men are considered like, oh, you know, you can't get sexually harassed. Just take it like a man. You know, it's
No, yeah, it's a
I
stigma.
mean, it's a double standard, and it's annoying. And
I mean, that
definitely
double
think
standard definitely applies like with that stigma when you say like you can't get harassed. Like how many men don't admit that they've been molested?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
Yeah,
kind of
same
taboo.
thing.
When
You
you're
know.
talking about in correctional facilities, you mean by the guards or?
Yeah, like women are known in correctional facilities to be very, very cruel.
Really? With like
Yes.
the male prisoners?
With male prisoners and in many cases with female prisoners.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Like you
Yeah.
mean worse than the men? You mean?
Yeah, for sure. My worst experience with police officers were with women.
I could believe that actually.
Like my worst experience ever that I can think of were when I got arrested by two women. And I didn't even do anything wrong. And they did me as dirty as possible. Left my bike in the street so it could get stolen, which it did get stolen. Like, and then they got mad at me because like I was telling them, I'm like, you're just going to leave my bike in the street? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not stupid. So I'm like, well, that's my POV. Like if you take someone out of their car, right, you're not just going to leave your car running, are you? You know what I mean? They were all, they were, personally owned vehicle, privately owned vehicle. And I mean, they called me every.
Are we talking like like a bicycle or a motorcycle?
No, a bike, a very expensive bike.
Okay.
I mean, the
Like
price
it was-
doesn't matter. It's yours.
Yeah, but it was a high end, very expensive bike, so it wasn't going to sit in the street longer than 10 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, they called me every Middle Eastern slang name that you could call me. All kind of
Again,
stuff.
going back to your driver's license.
Yeah, I was Habib and
That's
like all kind of stuff.
disgusting.
Like all kind of stuff. It was the only time I ever wanted to actually fill out a report against police officers and follow through. And I've been done dirty by cops, but they went the extra mile, and I didn't even do anything. Literally, the case I went to
doesn't
court and it got
Habib mean, like-
dismissed.
Doesn't Habib mean like lover or something?
I don't know what it means. I just know that they were trying to use it as some way to like put me down.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they like. It sounds like that. Like sometimes, like women who go into those professions are like very. What's the word? Misinterest.
They were like, "We know your type." I'm like, "What type? Innocent?" I remember saying, "Like, which type are you talking about? Innocent?" Because I didn't do anything wrong, and I can give you the situation. What happened was, so somebody got beat up in the projects one day by someone else that I knew, who I had been with at like 3:00 that afternoon. So these two cops were sitting in the school parking lot outside the projects in their car. So they saw me with this guy at like 3 in the afternoon. So I don't really hang with. I know him. We're all from the same hood. I know him, but he's not someone like if we're all standing on the U or hanging out together, he'll be there. We'll be kicking it, smoke, passing a blunt or what have you. This was years ago. However, I'm not gonna hang with him. He's my man, but we're not in the same circle in the projects, right?
Like you're
I
like
hang with.
acquaintances.
No, that's my man. We all grew up together. It's just, when the projects, there's so many people, you got your own little cliques within the greater clique. You know what I'm saying? So he's
Yeah,
not
that
someone
is
like,
true.
I'm not going to be at his house. He ain't going to be at my house. You know what I mean? So I saw him earlier. I think we smoked a blunt or something. And then I went to my people's house. So later on that evening, like 8, 9 o'clock at night, we all come outside and the police are out there. And this guy who lived in the projects, he was standing out there with his wife. He was with the police. He'd gotten beaten up. So it turned out the person I was with like 5 hours earlier beat him up. So we come out and these two cops walk right up to me and they're like, "You come with us." And I'm like, "Where?" And they walk me over to this dude and they're like, "Is this him?" And he's like, "No." So they're like, "All right." They tell me to stand by. So I'm standing by and they talk to the guy and then they come to me and they're like, "Where's your friend?" I'm like, "Huh?" I not what they're talking about because I didn't know what happened. I wasn't even there. I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Your friend. You were with him earlier. Where's he at?" Now, one, I'm not a snitch, and two, what friend? Like, I'm with you. Just saw me with my friends. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, "Well, what's your name?" And I'm like, "I'm not telling you." They're like, "Well, if you don't tell us your name, we're gonna arrest you, John Doe you, and you'll be locked up for 4 days." So I'm like, "Well, I'm not telling you my name." So they literally left my bike on the street, put me in handcuffs, put me in a car, and took me to central booking. And the whole time they're like, "You know who did it?" And I looked at him and I'm like, "Yeah, but you know who didn't." Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So
Like,
the
why is this
very
still going on?
yeah, and literally they demeaned me. They did everything they possibly could to put me down the whole ride there. So
Is
the
that
next day
technically legal? That 4-day thing?
the next day I spent the night in central booking. And the next day I go to court and it was Judge Mines. And literally he read my charges. He was like, "So he got arrested for not giving you his name?" He doesn't have to give you his name. Dismissed.
So the judge was basically like, "Screw you." to
He
them.
literally just dismissed it in like 10 seconds. But it wasted my time, right? I spent the night in central booking.
And you
That's a
lost your
waste of
bike?
time and
I lost my
resources.
bike. You know what I mean? Well, the city ended up paying me for my bike because I pursued it. It took 9 months because I
Oh,
wouldn't let it
wow.
go. I had to
Wow.
Yeah,
call.
dude,
Yo,
that's a
they
lawsuit.
were dodging that. The public defender told me, he was like, "Now you have a lawsuit." So I had to call BMHA, Buffalo Municipal Housing Authorities, every day because the Captain Mike Turman, if we go on air, just refused to take my call. So then I had to go in and fill out a report. Then I had to call professional standards to make them make the captain call. He literally went on vacation to make them call me back so that the city could pay me for my bike.
Jesus
Wait
Christ.
a minute.
And I just didn't
Say
let
that
it
again?
go.
Wait, say that again?
Say what again?
About
What I
the
just said?
vacation. The vacation part. What was?
Yeah, the captain went on vacation instead of calling me back.
Oh, okay.
Meaning
Okay.
I had been calling every day for like a month, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna call you back." Then I called. They're like, "Well, he's on vacation for the next 30 days."
Oh, wow.
So then I
Okay.
called professional standards, and then professional standards called them, and then I finally get a call from this guy, and then he had me come in, and then I had to fill out more paperwork, and it took 9 months, but I just wasn't gonna let it go.
Good for you.
Well, yeah, because
And
you shouldn't.
yeah, and then the city had to pay me for my bike.
And did they pay you more than the actual cost of the bike? Did you?
So I had to go to different bike shops and get an aggregate
Oh,
cost.
wow. Okay.
Yep.
So they weren't playing around. They did not want you to make a dime
and
off of this.
and the problem was the bike that I owned was
Mhm.
discontinued. Like they didn't make it anymore. I had
Oh
a dyno.
no.
I had a high-end collector's edition dyno, and they didn't even make it anymore. So I had to get bike stores to agree to come up with a price for the bike that I had that is no longer made anymore. So it's kind of like a collector's bike.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to go to like 3 different bike stores, get 3 different estimates, and then take this back. And it was like an aggregate of that. So it was like, well, not an aggregate, a total of the 3, but it was like, so I got like six or 7. I can't remember. It was certainly a few $100s less than the cost of my bike.
Sure.
My bike was like a $900 something bike without taxes.
You know what bugs the crap out of me though about that story too, is the fact that like you say that like that they're just like, oh well we know your type, and it's like you know what they're implying, and that
Yeah, I
pisses
know.
me off.
They're like, we know your type. We know we deal with you all the time. I'm like, wow, we know you, Habib. I'm like, yeah, I was getting mad, but I always keep my composure because you don't control me like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not giving you that type of power where you can just control me, and you know what I mean? I'm like, okay. I know I'm not who you think I am. I don't have to prove it to you. But anyway, I want to segue. I don't want to segue. I don't want this to be about me. I'm curious. So,
And this is not assuming that you guys do it, but I'm going to generalize and say that you do.
Because we're all wet pieces of trash.
Yeah. So guys that catcall women, what is the end goal there? Like, do you expect girls to be like, oh my God, thank you, let's go have sex?
So
I'm gonna expect women to do.
That's a very
I'm gonna
interesting
Why
question.
do you do that?
I'm gonna preface this, and it's because, and you have to excuse me because I'm arrogant. So.
Oh my God.
No, I really
Every
am.
fucking guy out there.
Yeah, but see, I don't ever catcall women. I don't even ever approach women. Even when I was single, I don't approach women. I make myself approachable.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm.
You
Single
understand what I'm
meaning
saying?
when you were 18 years old.
Well, even when I was doing what I probably shouldn't have been doing, I always make myself approachable rather than hit on women.
Okay.
And it's
That's
not
good.
because but it is good, but it's not for good reasons. It's because I'm arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because I'm trying to be benevolent. You understand what I'm saying? It's because of my own arrogance. So I've never catcalled anyone, but I wouldn't put myself out there like that. So I can't really speak. I personally can't speak to that because I'm not a catcaller.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I
It's
have
not
friends.
your MO.
Right. I have friends. I've been with them when they've done it.
It's fucking disgusting, man. So speak on their behalf, or get them on here to fucking explain themselves.
I want to let Kelsey give his perspective.
Well, Sid, this is what I would say, Cynthia.
You're already laughing. I already hate it. Fucking disgusting.
Yo, she's like, I already hate it. She's like, yo.
You've already stated that you don't answer to them, right?
Yeah, they're wet piles of fucking trash. Like,
I think the worst one is like, yo, do fries come with that shake, right? Like that's the worst. Like
That's so corny.
What are they supposed to do?
So I'm gonna tell you this. Let you in the secret. If you ever did answer to one, you want to know what happens next? Silence. Silence happens next.
Did you say silence or science?
Silence.
No,
silence.
Oh, okay.
Like crickets.
Yeah, take out that T and make it an L.
Like crickets. Like, because they don't expect you to answer.
Then why do it?
It's just.
What is the point?
It's a personal challenge, I guess.
That's disgusting.
Or it's like it's a game. I
But
think.
a personal challenge in what?
Like Double Dare is a personal challenge.
The challenge should be, let's see if I can get this person to respond. And if they do, you don't have an end goal there. That's the dumbest thing I've ever. That makes me think men are even dumber than I thought they already were.
Most of them are.
So stupid.
My daughter just said men are so dumb. She's 14.
She's fucking smart. She's
So
way ahead of the game here.
So there is we're gonna talk about it, right? We're gonna talk about it. And Ish always has to play the villain. So Ish will be the villain. I don't play the villain. I just am the villain, and we're going to talk about it. So there is a dichotomy on some level, right? Because it's not just that guys catcall women and there's no end game and there's no solution, or there's no end game, and it's just we're just catcalling women. And when I say we, I'm kind of excluding myself, but I'm using we for the purpose of the conversation because I'm a guy. But
Really?
you know,
No
I
idea.
know that in I'm going to say a couple things here, right? So I know that in the summer, one of the jokes in Buffalo, and I take it to the next level because I'm a sarcastic jerk, and is that every
Oh,
woman,
really? I couldn't tell.
every woman in the summer, day one of the summer, you're going to see her at her best on day one. Every day from there, it goes downhill. So in my
What?
in
What
my
does that
city,
mean?
so this is what I mean. In my city, you can drive on Kim Bailey, and the hottest day of the summer, you're gonna see they're all gonna be out, and they're all gonna have on next to nothing.
Facts.
This is real. Those are the women that want to be catcalled.
No, they
And
don't.
are you
They
serious?
want to.
Hold
They
on, wait a
want to
minute.
wear that because it's fucking hot outside.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm not being a jerk because I don't think it's okay. You can walk down the street nude, and I don't think it's okay. I don't think that's an invitation for people to hit on you.
Mhm.
I don't believe that. I'll tell you that right now. Like I'm not one of those people that'd be like, you know, I hate that. Oh, she was asking for it because look how she was dressed. No, she wasn't. You don't have license to do anything that is not consensual. You don't have license to ogle someone, to hit on them, to feel that you can take liberties because someone is dressed a certain way. But that does not mean that there isn't that doesn't go for every woman. And what I mean by that is that doesn't mean that no woman deserves that. But that doesn't mean that there aren't women, just like there are shady men, there are also women. And this is why I said I'm going to talk about it.
That
There are
want
also
attention.
women that attention. So
Yes,
here's
but they're not the majority here.
I didn't say
No,
they were
but
the
they
majority,
exist.
but they
Well, of
exist.
course they exist.
So hold on, I'm gonna take it a step further, right? And me and a friend of mine always have these conversations, and I always tell her, I'm like, this is just what it is. The average guy, and I'm gonna take it there because I always am the villain. And this is, I might sound bad when I say this, but this is my experience. The average guy, when he walks out his house, he could walk out his house with his desire to find someone to sleep with, and the average guy will come home empty-handed. 90% of all women, if they walk out of their door with the intention of finding someone to sleep with, they will be successful.
I'd say it's like 95%.
Okay, we'll go even higher. They'll just be successful.
At least heterosexual women, because like
Yes.
because like lesbians finding other lesbians, like that's like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a smaller subset.
No, that's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Well, it depends on where you go, right? Aren't there certain places that you can
yeah,
go
if you go to a
to
gay bar,
drastically?
that's
I mean,
different.
isn't that the point though?
Well, yeah, that's the point. But we're saying like, you know, on a regular day, going to regular places that most people go.
Right.
Well, it depends on what you define as regular, but I get what you mean.
In a heteronormative world, yes, women going outside.
Yes,
Outside
when no one wants to actually pay any money, right? Just, you know, find someone that will sleep with me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that to say, because I'm not objectifying women. I'm not. That's not my intention. I just know that.
So you, before you finish, are you trying to say that for men, it's a numbers game and that's why they do what they do? Because they always try to shoot their shot because they don't have a shot?
So here's so let's look at a bunch of different factors, right? We understand that men reach their sexual peak or prime between the ages of 18 and 21. Mm-hmm. Women don't reach their peak until their mid-30s. Mm-hmm. So ultimately what we're saying is, right, men physically want to have sex between 18 and 21 more than any other point in their life, even though throughout their life they still want to have sex, right? But between the ages of 18 and 21. So when you hit puberty, right, guys around erect almost all the time. Seriously. A very good friend of mine.
Like,
go on.
No, you go.
Okay, so I'm just adding factors to this, right? So a very good friend of mine, my wife was at my house some months ago, and she was very distraught because her son was going through some things. His father died, so she had no man around. That, you know, he was going through some things, and she didn't have any. She didn't understand why and didn't have any real advice. And I'm like, well, how old is he? And she's like, he's 12. He just turned 13. And I said, he probably is sexually frustrated and doesn't know that he can masturbate. And she just got shocked.
Wait, I feel like you skipped something here. Did you skip that her son was walking around frustrated or was upset, or I feel like we missed a concept.
I didn't skip that. I said that.
Could you repeat what precipitated this concern?
He was just like frustrated. He was upset. He was going through things that she didn't recognize that most boys his age go through.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yes.
So
you never said, rubbed one out in the shower? I feel like most guys accidentally.
But here's the thing. I'll give you an example. When I was that age, right, I could do that.
You what? You cut out for a second.
So when I didn't know that I could masturbate, and I found out I did it wrong like the first 20 times.
How'd you do it wrong?
So
how do you fuck that up?
So working motion, because I was raised by a single parent, right? And my mom never censored me from anything. So any question that I wanted to ask my mom, I could ask her. The problem was that question. I didn't even know what masturbation was, right? So I would steal my uncle's, he lived downstairs, I would steal his porn magazine and rub myself, not actually jerk, just rub.
That's enough to get someone off sometimes.
It did, but there's a better way, right? Yeah. There's no guy could tell me this. And so when I told her this, I said, he's probably too embarrassed. He lives in a house full of women. He has 3 sisters and you, right? And, you know, he has no one that he can talk to. And she, you know, this kind of enlightened her. And I'm like, you know, he's at that age where he's waking up erect every morning. And as a young boy, it hurts. Like you're fully, you know, you go from like 10 years old where that doesn't matter to now, like you're at like 12, 13 and you wake up on full. You understand what I'm saying? And
when you wake up with an erection and you touch it, it hurts.
It can hurt, yeah.
Oh shit!
Especially, why do you think blue balls exist?
No, I thought like you're so aroused that if you touch it, it feels good, and then the next thing that follows would be you just touch it.
Well, in some cases, think about arousal with no release, right? In some cases, you're talking about so much blood and water building up that there is no release for.
And then add that to the fact that they probably hadn't peed all night, like, and those two systems are like.
Right, and then so you take that average boy and you send him to school at that time period. Mm-hmm. Everything that moves arouses him, and there's nothing that he can do to control it. These are actual chemical processes taking place in his body. He's growing. He's going through puberty. Similar but different to what women go through when they go through puberty. Like he's actually going through puberty. So he can't even control that every girl, the way the teacher moves, like these things just instantly give him erections.
That's crazy. I never thought about it in a teenager. Yeah.
So then you fast forward that to someone who's now in their sexual prime, 18 to 21. They say that a man in his sexual prime thinks about sex every 17 seconds. I think that's an example, but it's still within the realm.
Okay.
Every 17 seconds. Now, mind you, when you talk about sexual prime, right, I'm not making an excuse. When you talk about sexual prime, your body is working on a level that your mind cannot control. It's hormonal, right? So like when a woman reaches her mid-30s, physically she's going to want to have sex more than she did at any point in her life. Because
Tell me these things.
we're
I hope
talking
that's
about
It's gonna be wild these next few years.
we're talking about hormones now.
Yeah.
Not going into overdrive, actual something chemical taking place. You see what I'm saying? Like it's the chemical things are happening that are
How does
causing
this
you to.
relate to creepy men hitting on people?
So when we talk about and guys being creepers, right? We're talking about, and this is not an excuse, but men being driven by sexual urges.
Yeah, but
right?
they're not in their sexual prime. We're talking
Well-
about these old ass men who
Oh,
should
see.
be able to control themselves.
Well, I think that all men should be able to control themselves.
Yes.
I certainly think all men, period, should be able to. Like for me, it wasn't a numbers game. To say that, like for me personally, I don't want a lot of people to be able to be like, yo, I slept with Ish. I'm kind of special. That's how I feel like I'm special. Like you have to be, you know.
My dick is gold. You gotta earn it.
That listen, there you said it for you said
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? I couldn't say it because of the nature of the conversation.
Is that a quote? Is that a quote from
What you're
someone?
saying is that you like to keep the numbers down.
What I'm saying is I just always felt like I didn't want a bunch of women or people or just any specific person, just her, so to speak, to just be like, yeah, I slept with Ish. Just be like, well, why you? What was special about you that like, you know what I mean? But again, the first person I slept with was an older woman, so I began to like. For me, it was important, like the quality of people, and like I wasn't. That's just me though. I was like I felt like I can pick and choose. So I've never been one of those people that was like hard up like that. You know what I mean? And I'm arrogant. So for me, like I don't even have to sleep with you. I'm satisfied if I know you want to sleep with me. Because sex is mental for me. You understand what I'm saying? So I can't speak for a lot of guys when it comes to why they, I understood why guys like you'll just sleep with anything because you have these sexual urges. So you'll just sleep with anyone who's willing to sleep with you. Because you have
No, guys have
Yeah.
standards.
young guys don't.
No, that's true. They
I was about to say
don't.
that's more of a young guy thing because
Yeah,
I gotta feel
Katie.
something from you. I can't just sleep with you.
I can't either.
It gotta be some type of. There has to be some type of feeling there. I can't. Yeah. Like
So what do you think causes guys to be super catcally creepy?
I think Cynthia said it earlier in the thread. It's attention.
Yeah, but what type of attention are you getting by asking somebody if fries come with that shake?
It's not even, and it's not a real form of intention. It's just.
Well, I think they're just like, any attention is good attention. They want someone to pay attention to them, even if they're cursing them out.
Well, I
exactly.
think at some point, if you shoot your shot enough, some people are going to give you attention back. And you might have to shoot it a bunch of times, but there are going to be people who are going to respond to you. Some people might think you're trying to be funny and might find you charming or something. Some people might look at you and see if they think you got it going on or whatever. A lot of people might be turned off, but if it's a numbers game, you might keep shooting your shot until someone responds.
Yeah, but like I'm not gonna go like jump and have
Yeah, but
sex with random guy on the street.
Well, first of all, that's you, and second of all, they can just get your number and they can start talking to you and it's not.
True.
Yeah, it's not like on some like right away type thing, you know?
I mean, we got to
Although I
keep
would
in
give
mind
them the
that
rejection
that
hotline.
sex is the oldest activity in the world, and it's certainly a game that is dominated by women.
Yeah, we hold the keys.
Yeah. Period.
Absolutely.
Just
Well,
ask any
technically,
married
the guys
man,
would
we
have
hold
the keys. We would be the lock.
Oh my God.
From a visual aspect, yes.
Just ask any married man. The wife decides the frequency.
Well, no, I think I'm the exception.
Yeah, you're the exception. I wear the pants in my household. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
She comes in the door, and I'm like, hold on. Wait right there.
Down, girl.
No. But I'm very. Oh, did I wake you? My bad. But no, yeah, I do agree with Emily for the most part. Like, it all depends on when it comes to marriage. Like, just how well the two people interact and know each other, and whatever the dynamics of their relationship are. So, but I do agree for the most part. Like, women do absolutely, wives absolutely control the frequency. And women, if in an ideal world, right, women control the frequency. Period. Women
they control
women
the frequency,
dominate
period.
that game. They just do. They dominate that game. I think that's one of the reasons why you have things like sexual assault or what have you, right? Because it's about abuse of power.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's about, that's really what it comes down to, right? Like, enforcing power over someone else.
Yeah.
Somebody described sex, and I can't remember who, and I wish I could. It was a quote that I read where someone said that sex is absolutely, if it's not, the sensual making love, it's a man doing the worst physical things to the woman that he loves. That's literally how someone wrote it down and described it.
That's interesting.
Wait, what'd you say?
So somebody wrote, and I can't remember who wrote this, but I read this some years ago, where somebody described sex, if it is not sensual, lovemaking type of sex, all other forms of sex are a man doing the worst things that he can think of to do to his significant other, like bending her over and pounding her as hard as he can.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a comedian.
No, this was something I read.
Yeah, comedians, right?
Yeah, this wasn't a comedian.
Oh, okay.
This was somebody writing about, the act of sex and how, talking about power, the power play, and they were talking about how in sexual assault, it's about power, and then they were talking about how, and oftentimes, in consensual sex, it's about power. If it's not, intimate type lovemaking, then all other cases, he was saying, might have been a she, they were saying that it's about power, that it's usually, and in some cases, yes, it's kind of sadistic, and in some cases, from the women's perspective, I talked to a friend of mine, and I'm like, it's the reason why guys can be submissive when it comes to like authority figure fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
Man, where are we going here? But you understand what I'm saying?
Out of this place.
Uh-oh. Sound like I struck a chord. Oh, that's right, you're a teacher. Like, everybody's first crush is their teacher.
Yeah, I wonder why it's always the male students who don't want to leave me alone.
My first crush was not a teacher.
Yeah, you're not a guy.
You're not male.
Oh, I thought you said everybody. Sorry.
Walking around with a boner in like fourth period. You know what I mean? Like, that's just.
You know what? Like, I understand that teenagers and like I guess high schoolers are teenagers. Like, they walk around with random boners a lot of the times, but I don't think I've ever noticed that in school. Maybe because I wasn't looking for it. Yeah, but I feel like if you had like a hard on, you could see that through pants. Not everyone has a dick big enough to like hide it.
Yeah, but
she's like, I wish I could go back.
I've only seen it once. there was a guy walking down the street and he was trying to hide his boner, and I thought it was so fucking hot. Because he's a grown ass man. But I was just
Imagine
like
if you're the-
smirking when he walked by. I was like,
Imagine if you're the teacher trying to hide their boner.
I don't
I
think
would
do
hope he
guys
doesn't
get
have
random
one.
boners?
That would be.
I would
bad.
hope
Yeah.
the teacher, the guy teacher,
Yeah.
doesn't have a boner.
that's not a
Emily,
good,
they're not all
it's not a
you,
good
man.
that's not
But-
a good look.
But
No,
also,
you're right.
Not on you.
I don't think guys, like adult guys, get random boners as often as they do as teenagers, right?
No.
No.
But you still get them.
So for
It
me,
happens.
I can't
I
speak
need
for
to
all
phone a
guys.
friend.
I guess Kelsey has conceded as much. I can't speak for all guys. For me,
Mm-hmm.
because it can't just be attraction. Like
Yeah.
pretty women come a dime a dozen, right? You walk around the
Mhm.
corner and there's 3, right? It has to be something for me mental that you know what I mean, that makes me actually desire you.
But sometimes a
And for
boner
sure.
isn't even about attraction. It's just,
Sometimes it just happens.
yeah,
Mm,
not so much as adults.
I mean, you wake up in the morning,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And you know, they call it morning wood.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up in the morning and you know, it's like get out of tension, so to speak. You know what I mean?
But throughout the day.
Throughout the day, no. Now, I random thought about a thing that could lead me to, like, you know, something, right? Not necessarily porn, but just something on TV that reminds me of, say, my wife in a given situation that will absolutely arouse me.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure, but not so much random. There's random thoughts for me that may lead to that. You understand what I'm saying? Not
Uh-huh.
actually just a random. Oh, it's after lunch and I stand up and man, I'm a wreck. You know what I mean?
That's
But
the
as a
one
No,
thing
teenager,
Emily-
it does happen.
Those don't
As a-
happen no more.
Yes, as a teenager for sure.
Damn, that's hard.
Well, because sex is
No
running
pun
through the
intended.
minds of teenagers. Like it's really running through their minds.
Can you
It's like a
imagine
race.
Emily just like randomly standing up and you just like there's a waterfall down there randomly? I can't
Yeah,
even
well,
imagine how annoying that would be.
Oh my
Think
god!
And then
about
it's like
why?
all slippery and
Why?
slushy down there.
Think about how we have like, well, how much worse is it though that we have to deal with blood?
Why did you
That's
just say
true.
waterfall? What are we doing here?
Yeah,
Hey, we doing a lot here. Like, why
We're
did
doing
you
too
say
much.
waterfall? She said waterfall.
But yeah, it is like when you have your period. It is.
Yeah, well,
I
think about the poor teenage girl who wears white pants to school
Oh
and
god.
then gets.
I
a
leaked
period,
so
'cause we
much
all know
in
what
middle
someone
school
that happened
and
to.
high school. It's so fucking embarrassing. Like, oh my god, I don't even want to think about it.
So were you in a situation where people noticed?
No one ever said anything to me, but like I've definitely left blood on chairs before, you know, and no
Oh
one
my
says
god!
anything. Or like Emily, have you ever leaked when you were in high school?
I don't think I leaked onto a chair, but like,
Oh, you're so fucking lucky. Oh Jesus Christ, this is so embarrassing.
I'm sorry that I'm
Never
laughing.
wanna,
I
never
so
wanna go back to
appreciate
high
your
school.
candor, Cynthia.
but I
I
never.
just have to let you know I'm so appreciative of your candor.
It's so embarrassing. Like if no one teaches you properly, like I didn't know that like everyone has different levels of flow. And like to me, I didn't know the difference between like a regular super like a what's the one after that? Super plus?
Super Max.
Yeah, and like
Is that a movie
Look at
theater?
this.
And
There's
ultra?
categories.
yeah, like levels of absorbency. And like I didn't
Oh,
realize
okay.
like you like the amount of that you have to change like changes between people. So I would leave like a pad in all day when it's not even the right absorbency for me, and I never changed it. It's like every month I would leak. It's just so embarrassing. Oh my god.
See, that never happened to me, but I think it's because like my mom was open with me about it from like age 7 on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is gonna happen to you. Like,
Yeah.
this is what you should do. And then like once I actually had it, like
Uh-huh.
she was like, she was like really, really on top of like, you got to change this shit every 4 hours. Like,
Yeah, I wasn't taught, like, I was taught how to use it, but I wasn't taught, like, oh, you have to change it. Maybe because my mom grew up with a light period and she didn't realize that some people have heavier periods. Because mine was really heavy. So, like, maybe that was a factor, but it's just, oh my God, I don't ever want to relive high school again. Oh my God.
yeah, but my mom is also like, overly hygienic in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's just like she's kind of a germaphobe. Like, so I
Mm-hmm.
think like she'd just rather have erred on the side of caution.
Mm-hmm.
So I can relate, not to that specifically, but to feeling how y'all feel because, you know, even though sex is normal, right, for
Uh-huh.
a teenage boy, at least before I had sex, it
Mm-hmm.
was embarrassing to walk around erect. It shouldn't be, but it was.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Like these are natural processes, right? Like a menstrual cycle is a natural process. An erection
Uh-huh.
for a guy is a natural process. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like these are just kind of like natural things. But again, we said that earlier, right? At least I did, that we stigmatize sexuality, not sex, sexuality, right? Like we stigmatize it. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so, because of it, these things that are natural, like, a girl shouldn't be embarrassed if she's on her menstrual cycle and something happens. Like people should be like, you know what, that's just normal, and we're good. You know what I
Like shit
mean?
happens.
We'll
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. You know what I mean? People should just, guys should just be like, you know what, that's just normal. You know what I mean? Don't worry, don't be embarrassed about that. That's just, you can't control it. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Like it's just something you can't control. But
I wish
because
more men felt that way.
I mean, it's just what it is, though. I until I had sex. Again, I was
Mm-hmm.
16 years old, and I had sex with a woman who was very. I know this is kind of on some levels gross, but the reality was, she was very helpful in the process. I mean, I seduced her, but the process was she was helpful. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because you were a 16-year-old kid who didn't know what the hell you were doing.
Yeah, I was awkward, and then we had a lot of conversations, and I learned a lot of things for later in life. And again, I was never embarrassed about being erect, but then, I wasn't walking around erect as often either after that.
Yeah, because like it wasn't building up. Like you had release.
The suspense, right, from like 12 to 16, like everyday suspense. Like you're going home, you're masturbating because, six women or six girls that you saw at school just looked particularly good that day, and you're taking mental snapshots, and it sucks, but this is just you have, because all you're thinking about is when you're going to get the opportunity to release this tension the natural way, if you understand what I'm saying. I think I lost everybody. Can y'all
No,
can you
no, I'm listening.
No, absolutely.
like there's the natural way. So what happens is, and these are things that, like, it's chemical,
As
like,
opposed to the self-service way.
right, and you have, so on a lot, at the very least, from the time a guy reaches puberty till he actually has sex, in his head, women are objectified for sure, and it's not, it can be controlled.
I agree with that.
Well, yeah, it's a
Women
biological
who you
thing.
would not find attractive otherwise are attractive to you because they have the parts necessary for you to perform a natural function. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
Yeah, and I don't think that like attraction necessarily works like the same way
It doesn't.
in reverse, like for
Oh,
women towards men.
right. See, that you would have to enlighten me there, because I don't have that. I'm not a woman.
Not last time you checked, anyway.
Right.
But no, I mean, I think that like and I think it's because like women reach sexual peak later on in life, but like women aren't walking around like constantly looking for like tab A to fit into slot B,
Mm.
you know?
See, that's interesting because I never thought about it from that perspective.
Like, I don't know, like I feel like that like women are, shall we put it, like women are like so much more like satisfied by self-service.
Because we know what we're doing.
I mean, I listen to women. Why? That's how I was so manipulative when it came to, interacting with women, because I'd slept with an older woman and she used to tell me things like, I used to use women's tactics on women. All that hard to get, all of that. She told me, she was like, listen, only a woman knows how to satisfy a woman. Okay, show me. That's
And
literally, I remember telling her, all right, show me.
folks, that's why
Teach
we
me
have
that.
lesbians.
Teach me that. And she did. I want to learn what it is that women, I want to know. Teach me. She's like, okay.
I don't know, like some women think they're all that and that they do it much better, but that's not always necessarily the case.
Yeah, some people are definitely raised to be more conservative and not, God is watching, don't touch yourself. But
well, she was in a high position in my Sunday school department.
And then the scandal started.
No scandal, because I'm very private about what I
No,
don't tell. I don't like sleep with people and then go tell all my friends I slept with this person. I actually want to be able to sleep with the person again.
there you
see,
go.
that's assault.
No,
That's what?
That's assault.
Did you say assault?
That's
No.
assault?
With
Why
your
is that
teacher.
assault? I didn't feel like it was assault when I seduced her.
not from your direction. She's saying
Oh.
from the other direction.
Yeah,
I didn't feel
person of
assaulted.
power, no matter what. I know you
I didn't feel
didn't, but you know, still
assaulted
is.
at all. I mean, I guess it's subject to interpretation, right? Like at 16 years old, I was able to, like determine what I wanted to do. I had every intention. Let's have this conversation then. Would it have been assault if like I was with another 16-year-old?
Well, no, two 16-year-olds. It's different.
Well, that's
You're
like a
not-
weird standard, right?
One
And I'm not
person's
saying.
not in a position of power.
Well,
It's
I
not a
understand
weird
that.
standard.
Well, I don't know that Sunday school teacher is
Just
really
like if you were to
power.
reverse the roles, if a female student were to do that to a male teacher, he'd be arrested in a heartbeat.
And vice versa, but the punishment would be different, right? Like the female teacher would be.
Well, no, I mean the female teacher wouldn't necessarily be.
I mean, there's been a fair amount of female teachers who've served jail time for.
Yeah, but they go to jail
Yeah,
for
but-
reform, whereas men go to jail to be punished.
Yeah,
When it
I
comes
guess
to
that's
that.
kind of true.
When it comes to that.
Yeah. I mean, the women should be punished too. I think it's a terrible double standard. The female teachers are just, the way that they're portrayed is like, oh, look at this beautiful teacher. It's like, no, they're a fucking predator. Put them in jail.
I don't disagree. I just disagree from my own personal self because it was my personal experience. So I know my role in it, but I do agree with you.
I mean,
And
in
what a
more
sad woman she
general
must
sense,
be
man.
to be able to like. What? I mean, seriously, who the fuck? If a 16-year-old came up to me and tried to seduce me, I'd fucking laugh in their face. Are you serious? Even if a 21-year-old came up to me.
You never met me when I was 16.
No.
I'm
And he's 16
just saying.
Even if a 27-year-old were to come up to me, like, get the fuck out of here.
But,
You're 27.
Cynthia,
What are you doing, Cynthia? What are you
What are you
they have to
doing
be
with
like
your life?
29.5?
I'd go as low as 28. No lower than that.
but I think like here's the thing too, though. It's like it depends on like how old was she, because there's a difference between like 25 and 35.
I doubt she was 21. Was she 21?
No, she was 27.
Yeah, but still, there's a difference
Still.
between 27 and 35. Like, I'm like a lot different of a person than I was at 27.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was 16, so she had me by 11 years.
That's a lot. I never like relationships that have huge age gaps.
Well, it wasn't a
especially when the
relationship.
male. Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
It was an entanglement.
So what you're saying, Cynthia, is you wouldn't go 27 just for fun, not for a
No.
relationship, but just like scratch the itch.
Dude, guys,
Don't call me in the morning.
I've slept with
You know what I
men
mean?
in their 30s that were terrible in bed. Like, you think someone younger will be better?
I mean,
don't think so.
I don't think so, but you
No.
never know.
No.
I don't know. Like, sometimes the younger ones are better.
No. No.
I mean,
it depends on their. No.
she said, nah.
You get better with experience.
That's true.
Yeah, but that goes along with what I was saying before. It depends on the person, though. Like, not like,
Yeah.
you know, older, younger, female, male. Like, not to be like crass, but girls who sleep with other girls get this huge, like, air of superiority of, like, you know, well, I do it better than for another woman than any guy ever could. And sometimes that's not true. Sometimes they just suck and won't admit it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't speak on behalf of that, but I believe you. Yeah.
It's like, but I believe you.
But yeah, I mean, I could. Well, I don't know, cause like
So Sam, what's your opinion on this?
Sam's not here.
I know.
But I feel like as a lesbian, or even if you're actual, just any woman who is attracted to other women, like, you know what you like in yourself, and I feel like it would be easier for you to please another woman than it is for a man to please you. You know,
And yet
just
some
like I feel
women
like
still
gay
suck
men,
at it.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait a minute. How do you come to that conclusion?
Home court advantage.
because you have the same tools.
The same plumbing.
Yeah. If you know how you like it when you masturbate, I mean, it's probably only the amount of tweaking that you need to do if you're trying to please another woman is probably not as
I
much
don't
as
know.
a guy
I
would
beg
have.
to differ. Like, different women like it different ways.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, the
I was
amount
gonna
of
say the same
tweaking you
thing.
have to do is not the same as, like, if a guy were to go in there, it would be like, oh my god, this is brand new territory.
But it's not brand new territory. Like,
Well, she said as a lesbian.
I mean, like, yes, like the other person, there might be a home court advantage to the other person having the same plumbing as you, but that don't mean that the other girl actually likes it the same way as you do.
Yeah. And if they don't, like, at least you know how that organ works, that you can, like, make adjustments and still be able to please really
I
well.
mean, I'm gonna say that it's in some ways sometimes like more the opposite, that like sometimes like being with other women, like the other, like, women assume that every woman likes it the way they do and aren't, like, how do I phrase this, like, aren't as willing to, like, learn because they think they know.
Yeah.
Kind of like how some
Well, that's
guys
like
aren't willing
guys.
to adjust because they
Yeah.
think like the woman they're with likes it the way he was with the last woman, so they don't like have no.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a similar thing. I'm just saying that, like,
They only got one tool in the box, so to speak.
I'm just saying that women think that some women think that they're hot shit just because, like, just or that
'Cause
they
they're
could be
arrogant?
better than any
What do you
man.
what do you got
because they're
against women?
arrogant.
Women, Emily.
Nothing. I'm just commenting on my own personal like
She hates women.
experience.
You had some bad experiences, huh? You're like, man,
No,
this chick, I don't know what she thought she was doing.
no, I've never. No, I've
She
never
thinks she's
been.
that chick.
No, like I've never been like unsatisfied per se. Like,
Damn, you're lucky. You've never had
Well-
disappointing time in your life.
yes, I mean I have, but like that wasn't like dependent on whether it was like
I was gonna say I've been with some
with a
disappointing
woman or a
women.
man.
Yeah,
Like,
I've
there
been
were
with so
disappointing
many
women.
disappointing men.
There were disappointing women and disappointing men.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what their plumbing was. They just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. But yet they were still what I'm expressing is that like there's women who know how to do it for you and there's men who know how to do it for you.
Yeah.
And just because like someone's a woman doesn't give them the, like, in my opinion, a huge advantage so much as it depends on the person.
I guess it really just comes down to experience. The bigger your sample size, the more accurate the average would be for you.
I
And what
think
you
think it's more than just experience, but certainly it does come down to experience. But I also think it comes down to recognizing the needs of the person you're with, rather than just trying to satisfy yourself. At least from a guy's perspective.
Well, it comes
Like, I've
down to
always
like
felt it
not
was
being a
important.
greedy lover.
Like, I
Yeah.
always felt it was important to. Again, I was taught by a woman, so I always felt it was important to prioritize what my partner needs.
100%. Because it's a lot easier for a guy to get off.
Right.
They can get off like nothing, but
Yeah,
Right.
we just have to be there.
Not in all cases, because again, like I said, I've been with some disappointing women, so it's not really
yeah.
like if you're just gonna be there. But for me, it's different though, because it's mental.
I
So
mean, I was
I
joking.
just don't need a sexual, beautiful person and a body. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just get up and like I'm not stimulated by that. You know what I mean?
If you wanted that, you may as well not deal with people. Like, just skip that and go get a doll for that.
Listen, I've told
Yeah,
people
pretty
before,
much.
like, I'm not hard up. I'll never be desperate. I can just go jerk off.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what
Well-
I'm saying? So, like, I can have any woman I want in my head. You know what I mean? So it's not like desperate. Like, we're going to please each other. You know what I mean? But
Well,
you
you
know.
also don't have to leave your house to scratch that itch.
Well, that's true.
So
I
lucky.
mean, not that I do either, but
That's true. Yeah, but see, the problem, it's easy, Cynthia, for you to say that it's lucky, but by choice, your circumstances by choice, because you
Mhm.
have made it clear that you have no desire to be in a relationship.
No, I didn't ever said that. I just said I'm not desperate to be in one.
Oh,
so therefore, no pandemic sex.
she's like, no COVID coupling, no Corona coupling, huh?
I thought about it, but like, no, I'm too nervous.
I don't blame you. I wonder how it must be for single people right now, and I'm serious, like serious question, not an actual question. It's rhetorical.
I mean, I
but
can
I'm
tell
just
you.
putting it out there. Okay,
I feel like
please.
a lot of the people that I've talked to, they're not afraid of meeting up. I'm like, are you fucking serious? There's a pandemic going on. Keep it in your pants.
I mean, we'd be
But they've gotta
not
be
surprised,
frustrated.
but we can't be surprised at how powerful those drives are, right? And men and women.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
we have billions of people on Earth because of that drive.
Like, that's why people have children, Cynthia.
Well, no, I think people have children because they have a desire to procreate, not because they want to have sex.
A lot
but
of
they
people
have
have
to
children
have
because they just want to have sex.
No, there's birth control.
Yeah, but
I
you
don't
don't.
talk
got
to the
shit
same
because of
people
R.
I
Kelly.
talk to.
Huh?
Yeah, R. Kelly, because of that music. I don't support him though, but that's easy for me to say because I was never an R. Kelly fan anyway. So
Yeah. What a sleazeball.
I mean, no, you're not wrong, Cynthia. I'm just saying that it's very easy to say there's birth control, but people
Yeah.
all over the world find themselves in situations where they just have accidents because they had sex.
Yeah, because they're not using birth control.
Well, that's why I said it's easy to say. Birth control is
would
very easy
venture
to
to
say,
say-
but we're just talking about people, and not everyone's that drive pushes people like, oh, we don't have a condom, I'm not on the pill, but I'm horny.
But here's the
Let's
thing.
just
I
let's
would
just do
venture
it
to
and
say,
practice coitus interruptus, and it just didn't happen.
well, and you know, one of the funniest jokes I ever heard. You know what you call people who pull out? Parents. Like, but I think like that's
First of
another.
all, I always loved that condoms existed. Period. One of my favorite things in the world from like the earliest age possible, because I've had one child, and I remember my brother-in-law who has 4 children. He has, I forget the term for it, Irish twins. Like they were both born on the same day but a year apart.
Uh-huh.
Yes, he's 4 children. I remember me and my wife were at his house one day when his wife was pregnant with their 4th child, my niece, and he was like, "Man, y'all know how it is." And me and my wife looked at each other and we're like, "No, we don't."
No, we're done with this shit. What are you
Because
talking about?
we never accidentally had a child, and all like our child was planned, and we
Why
never
did you
had
guys?
another
Why
one.
did you have a child if you didn't want kids?
I didn't say I didn't want a child. I did. I wanted one child, and
No,
I
you said
plan.
you don't want kids.
I don't.
Not now.
Yeah, but I'm saying if this is how you felt, why did you have one ever?
Because I wanted a kid.
He didn't feel that way at the time, Cynthia.
Yeah.
He's just saying he wouldn't have another one now.
Yeah, I wanted a kid. So me and my wife planned to have a child at the age that we did, and our plan was we didn't want to be raising a child for the rest of our life. So we had her when we were 19, and we never made mistakes or had accidents ever. We were very responsible when it came to sex and not creating, another. We wanted one child, and that's what we had. And we were very responsible so that we didn't put ourselves in a position to have another one. And we have sex often.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? And that's why she was saying pull out because you're a parent, like I listen, I'm gonna pull. There's not gonna be any accidents. We're not we're not
Why
making
don't you
any
just
mistakes.
get a vasectomy? Because you know you're never gonna want a kid. Or why doesn't she get her tubes tied?
I mean, it's just something that, to be honest with you, we just never thought of. Neither one of us ever thought
Well,
like, hey,
Why don't you think about it now? Then you could just raw dog it.
well, she's coming to a point where, I mean, we do raw dog it, but she's coming to a point where, like, I don't even think she can get pregnant anymore.
She's probably
Hey, miracle babies happen.
No.
If
Yeah, I
you
know.
truly don't
I know.
want kids, then
Oh, I
you
know.
should do
I
something
know.
about
She's
it.
probably close to menopause, though.
Yeah. But
Hey,
I
there
do know
are
that.
people that are like 70s that have kids, you know.
I just want to let you know, right? I've never got anyone pregnant accidentally.
Never
My
say
wife-
never. That's all
My
I'm
wife
saying.
never got. Well, I'm responsible. I'm not just gonna be like shooting off into the vastness of space.
But why not just snip snip?
Well, I mean, it's just
You
something
know
that
for a fact that you don't want more kids. She doesn't want more kids.
Scissors.
she's
off
like,
of
I want you to cut yourself. You need to cut yourself.
No, but
Why
I don't
won't you do
understand
it?
why you would even risk it if you truly don't want any more kids.
Cut yourself and post it on Facebook.
If he's been successful this many years
That's what I've been trying to
without
say.
getting more kids, then why does he have to like satisfy you by snipping himself?
That's what I've
Doesn't
been
make any-
trying to say.
just-
Like,
It's almost like this.
No,
this
but I'm just saying like accidents happen. Just because it hasn't happened now doesn't mean it can't happen like even later
yeah, but
on
it
in life.
sounds like they have some kind of planning
no, there's
going
a
on that's
system.
working.
Look,
It's
I've-
like going
I've
to.
never had an accident.
It's like going to a house that's been standing for like 20 years and being like, why don't you have any flying buttresses? You know that flying buttresses are great at making sure that structures don't fall down. You should be careful and get some flying buttresses, don't you think? It's
Yeah,
like
that'd be a
kinda-
great idea.
That's like telling Cynthia. That's like telling me that like I should get my tubes tied. I've never had.
Well,
an
no, because you
accident.
want
I've never been
kids.
pregnant.
You want kids.
But what
so
if I said I
completely-
didn't?
Then you should. Why not?
I don't know. Like that's too invasive for my taste.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'd like to get through life, and I think my wife would like to get through life the way we were born.
You mean without people cutting into you and altering things?
Right. If we can help it.
Well, do you have your tonsils in your appendix?
I have
Do you
my
have your
appendix.
wisdom teeth?
I don't have my wisdom teeth. But
Oh.
but nobody keeps teeth. Like, come on.
Yeah, they do. Why wouldn't
No.
But
Teeth. You're eventually gonna lose your teeth.
they? Your baby
Philosoph-
teeth, not your wisdom teeth. Those
You're
are
a
philosophical
extracted.
question, though. Philosophical question. Isn't getting a tattoo like altering yourself, like, or a piercing altering yourself to like not be like the way you were
Yes.
born?
It's cosmetic though. It's not actual physical. Those are that's cosmetic alteration.
Even a
not.
piercing, like that's like putting a hole in yourself.
Yeah, but those holes close.
Well, that's true. I have had holes close.
Like when my tongue ring was taken by the police, the hole closed. There is no hole.
Is that the only reason why you don't have it anymore?
Yeah, because they took it.
Jesus fucking Christ! This sounds like another story.
You can always put it back in, you know.
Well, I have to
No,
have it
don't-
pierced again. The hole closes.
That hole closes.
No, I've had mine out for years, and I was able to put a piercing through.
Yeah, but you had to poke through the flesh that grew in the middle of your tongue.
I mean, it's like nothing really.
Well, I'm glad you like pain, but some of the rest of us don't. Like, I realized sadly, like a few weeks ago, that that I hadn't worn earrings for so long in my second holes that I can't put earrings in them anymore.
Yeah, I'd have to push through my ears. I've
Yeah,
had to
me
do that
too.
plenty of times.
Well,
You
I
can just
still
push through it.
Well, I still have my front holes, but so I don't really care. Like, I still have one pair of earrings, just not the
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, my back holes are closed. I don't even see the holes in my ears anymore. Let me look before I tell that. I could be telling a lie. No, I see the hole in the front.
Oh, I still see the holes. I just don't put anything in them.
Yeah, I see the hole in the front. The back, I'm not sure of. That would definitely have to be pushed through. But I put it in through the back. I remember one of my holes used to close and I had to re-pierce them. I'd put it in through the back. Just cuts out half of the struggle. So this was a very
Spicy.
deeply involved conversation. We had waterfalls and Morningwood and like all kind of stuff was going on, and we had all kind of nature forces of nature conversations.
There's gonna need to be like a disclaimer.
Snip, snip ish.
Extreme
Snip,
forces of
snip.
nature.
Yeah, keep your damn secrets
You want
away
to
from
report
people.
on this too, huh? Like post it on Facebook. Yeah, she's probably like, yes, another guy forced to feel the pain.
It's
Wet
not
bag of
painful,
trash.
It's not. It's
know?
barely invasive.
Cynthia, you've never had a vasectomy. How do you know?
Are you
But
getting
they've
your
heard
tubes tied?
Stories, huh?
Are you getting your tubes tied?
No,
Why not?
because I want to have kids in the future.
You want to be that 40-year-old with a 1-year-old?
Shut up.
40-year-old. Why would you assume that I won't have kids before 40?
Well, because you're a jerk about relationships.
No, I'm not.
So let's
Wait a minute. We had a whole conversation where you were like, and I'm not trying to get all emo with people.
See, now let's rewind. Like,
Yeah, let's
You
rewind.
do
I feel like you
realize-
recall this
you
conversation.
do realize that
inaccurate.
that I probably am gonna be a 40-year-old walking around pushing a stroller, right?
Why would you want to do that to yourself?
Do I have any choice at this point?
Why don't you?
Yeah, have kids now. You're not even close to 40.
Well, by then it'll
In
probably
the
be
middle
like
of a global pandemic.
it'll probably be like hovercraft strollers anyway. So it'll be cool.
You'll still be 40,
Yeah, but the strollers will push themselves.
but you'll still be 40,
Yeah,
which
but it'll
means
be
you'll
easy.
still be spending the next 18 years of your life at least raising children,
Look,
raising a
at
kid.
this point, like, here's the thing though. At this point, reasonably, I don't really have a choice because reasonably, at this point, I'm 3 months away from being 36. So, like, the earliest, like, and this is not gonna happen, but like the earliest, if I got knocked up today, I think like the absolute youngest I could have a kid would be 36 and a half, which ostensibly means that like at age 40, the oldest kid that I could possibly have at this point would be 3.5.
Okay.
So Emily, you and Misha want kids, right? What has stopped you
What
up
stopped
until
you
this
both
point?
up until this point?
Yeah.
I mean, both of you, Cynthia and Emily.
I mean,
Oh, me? I mean, I'm not in a committed relationship. I'm not gonna have kids with just a one night stand.
You
What
could
do you mean?
adopt. You could just look for a
No,
gene
it's
donor.
really, first of all, it's really expensive to adopt, and also it's very hard to be approved to adopt. And if you do
Wait,
it as a
it's
single person, I just
It's
don't think
expensive.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is expensive.
Yeah,
it would
Oh, I
be
was-
more reasonable for me to like go to a sperm bank and get sperm and be a single parent. And like I'm sure if I don't find somebody, I don't know, in 5 years, that's something that I would either have to decide whether I want to never have kids and live
Is it-
a beautiful single wealthy life or be a single parent.
Is
I
it the
mean, like-
process itself that's expensive, or just you mean
But the
the kid?
process,
The
but
process is expensive.
yeah, and it's also very hard to get approved, even for like married white people, and they're
Well-
like
Right.
more
On the other
likely to
hand,
be
foster
approved.
parents can actually make money, right? If you're a foster parent,
Yeah.
they actually give you money, right?
Right, because you're
But
not
that's-
keeping the kid.
Yeah. That's
But like
totally different.
I mean, I can like in my case, like I think like the reason why I personally am still like childless at 30 whatever is that like I and Misha too for that matter, like both of us are kind of perfectionists, like both of us are just kind of like,
Y'all want a Stepford child.
not even that. Like it's
A
not
what?
even about wanting a
A Stepford
Perfect.
child.
Oh, okay.
it's not about wanting a perfect child. It's about like kind of like both of us like just constantly feeling like
The world's too fucked up to
no,
bring
not
up a
even
child.
that the whole world is too fucked up, but that like conditions in our own lives aren't perfect for it. So we keep
I think
like,
that's always the
postponing it.
wrong reason to not have children.
Yeah, if that's your reason, then you might never have kids. Like, how
Right,
do you
you'll-
know that within
yeah.
the next few years everything will line up perfectly? And
I mean, it's like, I think like it's a couple of big things. Like, number one, it's like fear of not being able to afford it. Number two, it's like we gotta move before we could do it. Like, no way in hell, like, we're raising a kid in this, like, apartment that's, like, full of shit and looks like a bachelor pad. But I think it's also, like, I mean, I think the main I think my main fear is like, not being able to afford to raise a kid and not and having to give up aspects of my own lifestyle. Like that it's like I almost had the opposite feeling of like, like the well, I want to be done and I'm still young. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like I still feel like I'm too immature to raise a kid, I think is what it comes down to.
So how do you see that changing? Like, do you have a deadline for when you want to have kids before you and me should decide, if you ever decide that you're just not going to?
Yeah, when I can't, yeah, when I'm too old to like physically do it.
Okay. So even if you're like 45 and you can have a child, you would go ahead and have a child if you're ready?
Well, no, I mean like probably like 40 is the cutoff.
Okay.
So,
But
but so that's I don't know. I'm very critical of that 40, that age 40 and above with children because like, the average life expectancy in women obviously live longer than men, but the average life expectancy is like 75 years, right? So at 40 or greater, you're going to spend 18 years probably raising the child, and then that child has to immediately go into a position where they may have to be responsible for your care, like immediately.
I mean, that's why a lot of people have kids, so that they have people to take care of them when they're older. I think a lot of people have kids for selfish reasons,
here's the
honestly.
I was
thing
going to say
though, is
that's
that, like
selfish.
I wouldn't expect my kids to take care of me when I'm older because
And certainly not at
I sure as
60.
I sure
Certainly
as
at least not until 70, maybe.
well, let me put this out there too. Like I don't even think about life expectancy so much
Mhm.
anymore either because it's like people would make the argument, like that like have a kid younger and then they'll have you for a longer
Longer.
period for longer, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's true.
always work that way. I mean, my grandmother had all her kids in her 20s and she ended up burying her own kid.
Oh,
Like
I
she
mean, that's
ended up
definitely not the norm.
I mean
It's
it's
very
not the
sad, but
norm,
yeah.
but you know, it's just kind of a matter of like, anything could happen. Like I don't know if I'm going to like, get killed before I'm even old enough for Medicare, like,
Yeah.
or if I'm going to live as long as Betty White. Like, so I feel like I can't make plans based on like my potential longevity,
Mm-hmm.
if that
Well, I
makes any
mean,
sense.
that's true, but it's still, if you were to make plans based on that, they would still be realistic barring exceptions, right? Like that it's still a realistic outlook.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. I'm not going to have, I'm not going to be like 50 with it walking around pushing a stroller, even if I am still physically capable of having a kid. That's just not going to happen. But like, I think it, but for example, like, it's like you say, like the average life expectancy for a woman is 75. Like if if I had a kid at 40 and stayed and actually held to that average life expectancy, like that kid would be like the same age as I am now. And when something happened to me and I feel like, well, I'm already a half orphan, like I already know, like it's sad to say, but I already know a fair amount of people who had the like who had a parent who lost a parent young anyways, so like I don't know, like I feel like it's just like,
Well, how many kids do you want to have?
one. No more. Like I used to say two, but now I'm just like, like I used to have kind of an aversion to like having an only child, but like now I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And does it matter if it's a boy or a girl?
I mean, honestly, I personally feel like I would do a better job raising a boy, but I obviously, but like however the coin flip happens, like
You'll accept it.
I'm not gonna be upset. I'm just gonna have to, like, if I have a daughter, I'm just gonna have to send her somewhere else to learn about makeup when she's a teenager.
Or she could just never
I'm gonna have to reach out to the New York contacts that I don't have so we can get Cynthia married.
Please. I
That way
I
you can,
want to be married.
okay, we can get you in a situation where you can have you some kids in a comfortable situation.
I mean, right now, like growing up, I've always seen myself as someone who has kids or will have kids. But like as I get older, like I'm very comfortable with not being a parent.
I get it.
The older you are, like your body just doesn't bounce back the way that it's like a fucking 18-year-old having kids. Like it just snaps right back. But like as you get older, your skin gets looser, and like it's just such a superficial reason to have to like for that to be the deciding factor. But like I think about that.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't really give a rat's ass about my body bouncing back.
Well, I care. That shit's snatched. I'm kidding. But like also if you breastfeed, like they inflate, and then once you're done, they deflate.
I guess
And
there's
like
more than one
pancakes.
arrogant person in this conversation.
No, but like I feel like in high school and even part of college, I didn't feel the best, and I worked hard to get to where I am physically. I'm like I don't want to give that up, like I enjoy working out, and like it took me years to get to where I am. Like I don't want to have to sacrifice that for some kid. What if they turn out to be a murderer? I don't know.
Yeah, but why would you having a kid stop you from working out?
No, it wouldn't, but like there's only so much you can do. If you have loose skin, it's loose skin. That's not gonna bounce back, And even if you have surgery, like
you're not gonna get loose skin on your freaking forehead from having a kid.
Not
like,
forehead, I'm talking about like the stomach. The abdomen area.
Yeah, but who's gonna be looking at it? Aren't you gonna be wearing clothes in public?
My partner? Myself?
So you mean to tell me that if you did like crunches and kickouts and all of that, you don't think that your abs would come back?
You can't exercise the skin. Like to carry a child, and this is assuming that
You'll have some stretch marks. You're not gonna have a pocket of skin.
Yeah, it's not like
but some people do. That's what I'm saying. Like there are some people who
That's rare. That's very rare.
That is not rare. I've seen plenty of people who have like.
She said you can't exercise the skin.
You can't.
20-minute skin workout.
Cynthia.
Yeah. What?
Let me throw this out here.
Your body's gonna go back to what it looked like before you were born.
No, it won't. But you can't guarantee that. Is what I'm saying. It could. That could be the case.
But let me throw this
that's not
out
always
there.
The case.
Let me throw this out there, Cynthia. Would you say that would you say a fat person shouldn't lose weight because they're gonna have loose skin?
Well, no. I mean, that's
I'm
for
just
health.
saying.
Like, yeah, don't lose that weight. It's not like you're gonna lose the skin. Like,
no, but there are a lot of
Maybe
people
it's
who
not
have
for health reasons though.
There are a lot of people who've had like bariatric surgery, and like the truth of the matter is, like once all that weight is gone, you still have obstacles to face.
You could eat a lot of grapes.
But
what?
Because grapes have a skin tightening property.
Oh my
It's
God.
the reason why. No, I'm serious. That's the reason why you
It
think
doesn't tighten you up like that, okay, Ish?
it's the reason why they take grapes and make
So-
grapeseed
so
oil and all of that
admit
crap.
it that like admit it. So basically what you're saying with it without saying it like, you know, explicitly is that you don't want to like lose your figure by getting
Yes.
pregnant.
Yes.
Well, you won't lose your figure. Your concern is your skin.
No, it's
Because-
the figure. It's
Well,
all
if you're
in the same package.
but here's the thing: if you actively partake in physical exercise, and I'm putting on my personal trainer hat right now, then the
you
process.
can't guarantee.
Hold on. If you are someone who has the muscle memory because you've spent your life proactively engaged in physical training, one, the childbearing process is easier, and two, muscle memory. As long as you continue to be physically active and physically train, your muscle memory will cause your body to go right back to form. You're right about your skin,
Yeah.
but
So
as
just
far
be
as
wrinkly
as
skin.
far as-
There's a chance
as
that
far
you'll
as-
have wrinkly skin.
So
right, but as far as your physical fitness, you should have no problem because you've been proactively physically fit. So muscle memory comes into play as long as you continue with the same dedication.
Here, Cynthia, is that you're gonna have an easier time than I am because I just sit on the fucking couch all the time.
It might be a little
See,
hippier.
this would be ideal. If this was me after pregnancy, which I doubt this is the case. Okay, look at this. That would be fucking amazing. But like those results are not guaranteed. I feel like this is what I'm thinking of when I think of like
That's
fit but still.
Do you have abs now?
No,
so.
that's what I'm saying.
Wait a minute. What are we
So
doing
what
here?
you're
Like,
saying is
what
that-
are we doing here? You
Why
want to
wants
be
to look
are we
better.
doing this?
She wants to
You-
be better than she is now.
So what she's saying is that in plain English, what she's saying is that pregnancy would derail her body goals.
Well, ab work is like abs are very easy to get.
I'm not talking about the abs. I'm talking about the skin, the non-wrinkly skin.
Well, that person has abs though.
Yeah, but it's
called-
not. The skin doesn't have anything to do with the fucking muscles underneath. How is that
There's
not getting through
lotion
your
for
head?
that.
The skin is a completely different
Cynthia,
organ.
I'm gonna need you to check your privilege.
Check your
What are you
damn
talking
skin
about?
privilege.
I'm gonna need you to check your privilege. She's like, well, part of that's not getting through your head. Okay, Nancy,
So
do you want to talk to my manager?
Yeah, because you keep talking about working out. You can't work out your skin.
You brought working out into the equation.
No, you said if you work out
what happens?
and you have the muscle memory.
But I use that because you said you spent a lot of time in high school and college getting your body to where it is now.
No. I said in high school and in college, I didn't like where I was.
You said you worked hard to get to where you are now.
No, I said
After
the
high
last
school
2
and
years.
college, because she didn't
Yeah.
like how she was.
Oh, I thought she said she did it during high school and college.
Yeah, me
No.
too. So that was.
Listening is an important skill,
That
people.
Well, I
explains why we
think
were
it was
expecting
lost
you
in
to
the
have a
way
six-pack.
translation because we both came to the. It sounded like you said you worked out in high school and college and you worked really hard to get to where you were. That's what it kind of
That's why
sounded
we
like.
were expecting you to say that you had a six-pack.
No.
Yeah, that's why I said, do you have a six pack now?
Shit, if I worked a decade and a half, I better have a six-pack. Shit. I definitely do not.
But here's
And this is not to shame like women who do have kids and this is how their body is. You know, you just can't predict these things, but these are one of the factors, deciding factors.
I mean, you knew
Personal choice.
you knew exactly what picture to go to. So certainly, you put a lot of thought into this. Like,
No, I just put postpartum body and I just picked pictures.
Cynthia, you're fat shaming, and as a fat ass, I'm offended.
I'm not fat shaming. I'm just saying I don't want loose skin.
but you do want to, but you do on some level may want a kid, not 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been the type of person who's like, oh my god, I want to have like 5 kids, and like, you know how there are some women that are just like
They just want to be mothers.
Yeah, I've never been that person. I've always been on the fence. Like, oh, I guess I can see myself with kids, but I can kind of see myself without kids.
See, I wish I could just skip like the first like 15 years.
You could
What do
adopt
you
a
mean?
You could adopt a 16-year-old.
Oh, I have enough of those.
Damn, this lady is so pregnant. That's crazy.
Yeah, you're a teacher. You already have like a room full of kids.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, exactly. I have enough of those.
Are you a role model?
Uh, in a very unconventional sense.
Would I be harassing you if I tell you I like your hair?
My hair? No, I like my
Oh.
hair too.
Yeah,
Yo,
I
your
think
hair
it's
is
pretty
dope.
dope. I didn't expect. I see you changed it and got the little.
Yeah, your hair is real dope.
Yeah, it's not done yet either.
That you said it was stage 2, right?
Yeah, it's not done yet.
Stage 2?
Yeah,
What
my
was
hair is in
stage
phase.
1?
My hair.
Oh, the
cut.
bleach.
No. Stage 2 was the bleach. Stage 1 was when I took a pair of scissors and cut it myself.
Oh, you cut it yourself?
Yes.
You know the
So what?
salons are
What's
open,
stage
man.
3?
Yeah, but I don't want to pay.
Oh.
Stage 3. Stage 3 is to put the blue and purple back in.
Oh,
Ah.
you're so lucky. I want to play with colorful hair. I can't experiment like that.
Why not?
It's just, I mean,
Because you have a real top. Is that what you're saying?
no, because just not the work environment where I can do that.
Because the
Whereas if you're
skin
a
may
teacher,
not.
you could
The
do
skin
whatever.
may not go back to. It's all about the skin.
The skin around her hair might not go back to normal. No, but like it depends. Even if you're a teacher, though, it depends on what school environment you're in. Because it's like,
Teachers can't have blue hair. Well, you're getting blue hair, so I guess they can.
no, but what I'm saying is that like in some schools, like they're like kind of like the school culture among the staff is like really, really stuffy to where like, like I've taught in schools where like the teachers have to cover their tattoos, like no nothing, professional all the time. And now I'm not in a school like that because like with the kids that we teach, like it's kind of encouraged to be unconventional.
Michelle Pfeiffer teach at your school?
No, I am Michelle Pfeiffer. What are you talking about?
I wish Michelle Pfeiffer taught at my school when I was growing up.
I mean, but let's be real though. Let's be real, if your teachers cursed in front of you and like openly admitted their faults, would you have gone to school more?
I probably would have gone to school more than I did, but
It depends on the extent. Because if every other word is like a curse word, it's like, yeah, okay.
No, I'm not like that. Like, but I mean,
all the cool teachers when I was in school, they all curse.
I don't have let me kind of rephrase this.
all the
Like,
cool teachers when I was in school weren't in my school. Or
ain't no one like me.
I think growing up, it was more important for a teacher to make a subject fun and engaging than it was for them to be like, oh, I'm like one of you guys,
But the funny thing is like, I don't know, like, it's like, what's weird about it is like, what I don't like is like the teachers who try to like purposefully be all like, oh, I'm like one of you guys. Like,
No, I hate that.
but I mean, like in my case, like I just kind of am, and I don't believe. Well, the other thing is, I don't believe in like sugarcoating things and being dishonest with people. So, if
does your
What? Go ahead.
Does your husband teach?
Yeah, he teaches college though, so he's got a totally different group of kids than I do.
What subject?
Mainly Spanish.
Oh, cool.
Like, I mean, I told you, like he's part of a big like Latinx family. Like he has 50 cousins in South America.
Oh my god.
No, like you didn't know that, Cynthia? Misha has 50 South American
No.
cousins,
That's crazy.
and he
They
spoke
run the country.
Spanish before he spoke English.
Yeah, but what's cool about it is that, you know, teaching formal Spanish is different than just speaking Spanish, right? It's kind of like going to school and get an English degree versus just speaking English.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
I used to sit in class with my, Latinx friends, and when we'd be in Spanish class, I'm thinking, why didn't you get 100? And they'd be like, well, why didn't you get 100 on your English test? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's just because
Yeah,
I
no,
speak
it's-
Spanish doesn't mean I,
It doesn't mean you know the rules. Like, just because you
Right.
speak a language doesn't mean like you know like the explicit rules of grammar and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Like-
Like I would never be able to teach English even though I speak English.
Yeah, no
Being
way.
able to
Like,
teach
Exactly.
a subject is completely different than
Right.
knowing it.
see, but
For sure.
but you're right. It's like, I couldn't teach grammar or something like that because like I can't break it down for people. Like that's just how I talk.
Yeah. And
Well,
also,
like,
like, the
spoken
English
English.
language is so, it's just, there are no rules really to English.
Well, spoken English and written English are two different languages.
Basically.
They happen to kind of support each other and be very similar, but they're just different languages.
But like
we don't use a lot of the rules when we're speaking that we have to use when we're writing.
that's true.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, but kind of getting back to like what I was saying before, like I think it's like, I'm not the kind of teacher where it's like, I try to be all cool and stuff. But if a kid asks me a question, like within reason, I'm going to be honest with them. I'm not going to say, like, maybe with younger kids, I wouldn't be so honest. But like, if a kid is 16, 17, 18 years old, I'm not going to say to them, oh no, like, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, whatever. Because they're old enough to know that, like, they're old enough to know that most adults are talking out the side of their mouth, like, when they tell kids not to smoke weed.
You do know we're recording, right?
Yes. I'm not saying anything I don't say.
Okay. I just
I'm
wouldn't
not
want
saying
to.
anything I'm not saying anything that's top secret.
She's not like these other folks out here that like let us record and then demand edits.
No.
After the fact.
Oh, you mean like Sam and Cynthia?
I didn't have any specific names.
was
It's
pretty
been more.
obvious.
It's been more than that. No, it's been a lot more than that. But no, I didn't have any specific names.
But like
Who else?
what I was gonna say.
Julian.
Oh God.
Julian, what did he want edited out?
And,
I'll tell you when you're older.
And Joey as well. No, it's
Really?
just actually regular people. Like,
What
they
did
take
Joey
it for
want to
granted.
edit it?
Well, we can't say it now.
Yeah,
obviously.
it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, we might have
No,
to
trust
edit
me.
this one
Everyone
too.
thinks it's easy to go.
Yeah,
editing.
Flake, can you edit this episode, please?
Yeah, I'll edit all this talk about sex out of it.
No, that's not what I meant. Just edit out the part where I showed the pictures, because I don't want to shame anybody's body, but I was just trying to give you guys examples of.
Too late.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll get right out. I'll blur that right out.
But
No, I'm serious.
You didn't show
yeah,
anyone's
sure.
face.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
serious
know,
as
but
well.
it's just, you shouldn't do that.
No,
too
yeah,
late. I'm
yeah.
already
I was just trying
edit
to-
that,
offended.
yeah,
Show.
we'll edit that right out.
Thanks.
And we'll put in. I'll make you say something body positive in that section as well.
But like,
Now I think you're kidding. Flav, I'm serious.
Oh no, I've been serious the whole time. Well, I'll get right on that.
for all intents and purposes, like what I was going to say is that, like, let's say like if a student says to me like, "Miss, do you smoke weed?" I don't have a problem saying to them, look, being honest with them and saying, look, like, I was smoking weed when I was 17 too, but you kids need to understand, like, when I was 17, like, I finished high school, I was out of the house, like, all that stuff, you know? Like, get your shit together and then we can talk.
Good
Like,
angle.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had my shit together before I had fun.
You didn't smoke in high school?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't start smoking until my early 20s.
I started in college.
Me
I
too.
mean, I started at 17, but,
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's college, right? Right after high school.
I mean, technically it was before college because it was, like, the summer in between
Oh.
high school and college, but yeah. Like, no, I didn't, like, when I tell you I was, like, the opposite in high school of, like, the kids that I have now, I was the opposite in high school of the kids that I have now. Like, I didn't do anything in high school. No sex, no drugs, no.
Me neither.
You didn't have sex in high school?
No.
Not everyone has sex in high school, dude.
No, I'm, you know, if you hadn't have told me that, I would have been so lost in the notion that everyone in high school is sleeping with each other. So when did you have sex?
I was 20.
Holy late bloomer Batman.
20 is not that late. There are people that definitely bloomed later.
Yeah, but I'm a lot
And when did you have sex?
Before 20.
That's high school?
I was 17.
Oh, so out of high school or a senior in high school?
I think I was. Fuck, that's a big question. I'll be a senior.
Okay. So like a prom thing.
No, I never went to prom.
Okay. So Emily, this was a college deal for you?
I mean, I was in college, but it wasn't with, like, anyone I was in school with. Like, it was when I was home for the summer
Was it with a guy or with a girl?
with a guy. This
Okay.
is who later turned out to be gay, but that's besides the point.
Oh, I think you mentioned this
Yeah, I
before.
told that story.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You did.
But, like, I mean,
That must have been pretty awkward.
I mean, yeah, like you're telling, but I'm not gonna speak bad on him because we're still friends. Like, he came to my wedding, like, came to my dad's
What?
funeral.
Wait. This is like a story in the making. So was your husband aware of your previous dealings with this person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he was he knew everything, like,
Okay.
but by the time Misha came into the picture, like, this
You-
other dude was already, like, out of the closet, like, nothing was going on. But we were
Okay.
always friends. We stayed friends, like, from Jump Street. Like, he was at like, afterwards, like, he was at our wedding. He was at my dad's funeral. Like, we're still
Okay.
friends. We still talk. He still
Okay.
talks to my mom.
20. Like, wow, that was
But he was
that's
younger.
that's an interesting
I mean,
age.
that's not that much older than college age.
Well, it
no,
is
I was
college
in
age.
college,
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean high school age. It's not that much older than school age.
Well,
but
no, it's
That's
just
like junior year of college.
20 is like a weird number, not a bad number. It's just I didn't expect you to say 20.
but like, here's the thing, like, what you kind of like, what you gotta understand is like when I was younger, I was like the total opposite of how I am now.
You were reserved and shy,
Reserved, shy, like,
introverted.
yeah, I kind of kept my circle. Like,
Were
how do
you
I like?
saving yourself?
That was part of it.
Mm.
Like I was, but just like I didn't have too many friends. Like I was the kid that like everybody loved to pick on, like whatever, like so on and so forth. Like, and I was an easy target because I was like, because I was such a nerd. Like I was a straight A student. Like I got in like I did a lot of embarrassing shit when I was younger and was in such a small school, but everybody remembered the embarrassing shit I did in kindergarten. I didn't get invited to parties. I didn't get in, like, I was the kid staying the fuck at home and reading a book. Like, I was the total opposite of what I am now.
Mm.
And now look at you with Rockstar.
She's like EMZ.
I mean, yeah, I'm on top of shit now. Like, I was not on top of shit as a teenager. Like,
How old were you, Kelsey?
I was like 14, 15.
Oh my God, 14. That's so young. That's
I
like
too had a situation
freshman
like
year of high school.
it was it was freshman year of high school.
Damn. Oh my God. Oh. If you look back and you see like 14-year-olds, you're like, holy crap, they're babies.
I had a sexual situation with the teacher when I was 14, but I didn't recognize it until like the next day.
now this is a
Mine
story.
was with my mom's a good friend of my mom.
Oh my God. Oh
Yeah,
God.
it caused a bad situation.
Oh my God.
But
How
Oh,
are
you
these
got
women
caught.
not in jail?
You got caught.
nah. That was that's when I first learned that you don't kiss and tell.
Oh, you learned that the hard way.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
She didn't tell you?
She did, but for some reason I kind of figured like her and my mom was best friends.
Oh my God.
So, I'd rather tell her before she do.
How did your mom react?
Oh,
bad
Was she just as
situation.
disgusted as I am?
probably more.
I don't blame her. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, she didn't take that too well.
I hope they're not friends anymore.
No,
Well, that went badly.
that ended then.
Good.
Yeah, that ended then.
That went badly.
But thank God,
Is it because her friend went to prison?
no. I was just about to say thank God that
What?
my
You
mother
have a
didn't.
sexual relation with a 14-year-old? You deserve to be in prison. What are you saying?
I'm not
Cynthia
saying
for?
you don't. Oh, I thought you were talking about me laughing. I was gonna say I'm not
No.
saying I'm not. I don't disagree with you.
That's what I was going to say. Thank God that my mother didn't take a legal pursuit because that would have messed her up for a whole life. And
She deserves it. What the fuck is she doing hanging around 14-year-olds
Yeah.
and being sexual with them? What?
I'll put it this way. She didn't really pursue me.
It doesn't matter. She's old enough to say no to a fucking child.
And she did say no.
You were persistent. Is
Did
that what you're saying?
I didn't take it, but I was just very persistent, and she finally just gave
No,
up.
no, you're a fucking adult. You can say no repeatedly without giving into it.
Yeah, but should someone be in prison for like years and years and years on end for one mistake?
That's a pretty big mistake, right?
Yeah. Yes, Emily. Yes.
I don't know about
Don't do
years and
anything
years
to
on
your
end,
kids.
but that is a pretty big mistake.
I mean,
Like
yes, it's
I
a
know
pretty-
that because some guy who sleeps with my daughter and she's 14 is not going to be like it was a mistake. Bruh,
It is.
Exactly.
I'm not going to
Think about
mistake
it when the roles are reversed. Stop thinking
It
about
is.
it like, oh, it's a woman.
I
No,
mean,
if a
I
Not
don't
guy
be a
were to
mistake
do
when I
that, they
murder
would
you.
be in jail.
well, maybe mistake isn't the right terminology to use, but like
Yeah, because I'm going to murder you.
one.
No, it was a mistake, and I didn't understand that until I had kids that were that age.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not your responsibility to understand because you're 14. It's her responsibility as a grown-ass woman to understand that it's not okay to do something.
Now
to
that
a
I
kid.
can
I mean,
agree
she could have
with.
waited till you were 16, bro.
Yeah, she could have.
16, it'd still be illegal. And that's just,
It would've
that's so
been a little bit
predatory. Jesus.
No, but
Good
here's
for
the
your
thing.
mom.
It's like
I-
that I can get behind like that. Like I'm not saying it's not like disgusting as all hell, but like
I'm
Have you
sorry.
seen a 14-year-old?
20 years
Like, oh
in
my
prison or
god.
something
But like
like that?
in
No
all
way.
honesty, to me, it was a trophy. It was a championship. To me,
Because you're a
and-
guy and you know how
and
men
I never
are.
really thought about what it was to her.
Because you didn't have like the mental capacity at age 14 probably
Exactly.
to think of that. Like,
It's always the adult's responsibility to be an adult.
teenagers don't have impulse
Being
control.
an
like
older
that.
man now, I see it as I was taking advantage. But
Well, when I was 14, I had a teacher use my elbow to make her nipple erect.
I think I need more details.
She did what?
Like she
She
brushed up against it, or
No, so I got into an argument with this kid named Tariq when we were in ICE. I don't know if you know
Tarek?
ICE. His name was Tariq. I don't know. I don't know if you know what ICE is in New York, but it's like in school detention.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's like
you
it's ISS. It's what we call ISS
Yeah, same
in New
thing.
York.
yeah.
Same
So
thing.
we got into an argument, and we both had to be, taken to the principal's office, and so she walked me to the principal's office, and I knew I found out the next day. I kind of realized what it was, and then later on, I knew it was confirmed because she got in trouble for sleeping with a student, but she walked me to the office, and she, you know how you kind of like stand behind someone and like interlock your arms into theirs. So she was like,
Yeah.
she was behind me and to my right, but her arms, like her arm was under, she had interlocked her arm under my arm and had pulled my elbow like into her nipple
That's weird.
and was just like rubbing her nipple up against my elbow. And I didn't even think anything of it because I was 14. And then the next day I'm like, yo,
You're like, wait a sec.
yeah, like, wait a minute. I've been in plenty of situations where people have made advances at me that I didn't even realize that's what they were doing until like way after the fact. I'm like, yo, she was making, you know what I mean? Like, and I, and that was one of them situations where I'm like, oh, and I mean, I know what my elbow was rubbing against. It was rubbing against her erect nipple through her white dress.
That's oh god.
That's
so
oddly
inappropriate.
specific.
And I know that as a grown woman, you know that my elbow is on your nipple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was not an accident.
No, it wasn't. She didn't remove it. It was rubbed. Her nipple was rubbed into my elbow.
Oh, that's
just so gross.
such an awkward situation.
So I can only imagine some of the situations that young women are in with men in positions of authority.
I mean, I'm glad that we don't have anyone here to, speak on that, because I feel like
Yes,
that
me
would make
too.
me
Me
so
too.
much more upset.
Yeah,
Because like
I
for
was
guys,
just
you
the type
guys
of way.
clearly it didn't affect you psychologically, but I think for women it's just different. It definitely ruins women way more than it does men.
Well, how do you know it didn't
I
affect
think
them?
so.
How do you know it didn't affect them psychologically?
It does
I mean, they
affect some
literally.
guys psychologically, but it
Yeah,
didn't
but I'm
affect
saying you
us.
two specifically.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
but how do you know it didn't?
Well, it didn't.
Just the way they
It
said
did.
it, the way they spoke about it.
It didn't
Well,
because society.
They were
Society.
saying how they seduced the teachers, so in their head, it was nothing wrong.
yeah,
They
but
were
that
the ones
doesn't
that
mean that
caused it.
deep down, that doesn't mean that didn't have some effect on them.
Yeah, but I
Just
mean
because they're
that's what people say.
unable to diagnose.
That's
just
what
I mean,
people
because-
It
say.
might have had
But
some
It is.
adverse
Do you
effect.
feel like you have any?
here's the thing, Mike, because I can speak for myself. At 44 years old, I can tell you that it didn't affect me psychologically. That fruit
Thanks,
would have
Ish.
manifested a long time ago.
What about
If it
Kelsey?
did.
Do you feel like
Like
you've
that would
been
have been
affected?
manifested.
Psychologically, no.
Yeah. Okay. There you go, Flake.
Like you're
Okay.
right. I'm not a psychologist that can diagnose it, but I'm now 44 years
However,
old. You know what I mean?
I can't say it didn't have an adverse effect on how I communicate with women.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
come on, guys, let's not be naive. If someone like walks into a room and say, "Oh, that had no effect on me," how do you know? I mean,
I'm
that
not
doesn't mean-
saying it didn't have an effect just because
Yeah,
I
but-
think, because he's the guy. It's because he
But-
said it.
But
But
Mike,
it didn't ruin
what you're
their
doing,
lives.
right, is when you say let's not be naive, how do you know? At some point, you're discounting that you know. Like, what do you mean effect? Like, did I grow up like messed up in the head? No, I didn't. I was
There
able
could
to.
be many. Well, there could. I mean, I think that's the problem. Like, right when she said you were 14 and you had no way of knowing what was going on, and these things were like. And excuse me if I'm mixing your experiences, but like, this is like some trophy, and you have no way of what's going on. No, I'm not talking about it ruined your life. I'm not talking about some extreme. I'm just saying like things can affect you without
Such
you knowing
as,
it.
because in order to say it, then cite an example.
No, I'm not going to do the citing an example game.
Well, then
I'm
how?
just-
Well, hold on, wait a minute. It's not a game, because if you're contending that we could have been psychologically affected without knowing, then you have to offer something too.
Well, Kelsey just did.
No, I'm asking you to, because I'm telling you I wasn't, and you're saying how would I know? So then I'm asking you to give me examples of what you think how I could have been affected. Like
That's not what
when
I'm
you say-
about. That's not what
Yeah,
I'm
but-
about.
but-
It's not about
but hold
providing
on.
you some.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Sordid,
Hold on. But
details of
Mike, you can't project something onto someone and then say, well, I'm not going to give an example.
It's not first of all, it's not a projection. Second of all, I don't know. I'm not like a psychologist, but that's my point. My point is like, how does someone know like how they were affected by something that happened to them at the age of like 14? Like for instance, Kelsey just admitted that it affected the way. Wait, no, let me finish.
Then I'll
my
let you
sentence.
finish. I have to
You're
cut you
turning
off.
up.
And then no, I'm not turning up. I just want to say that I already prefaced that after 44 years of life, like most people who were affected by things like that know they were affected and say as much.
I say that's wrong. I say that's wrong.
Okay.
I say that's
No,
wrong.
'cause-
I
no,
say if I can finish one sentence, most people who you're talking about would have the benefit of some kind of therapy or something like that, and they may know things that may have affected them.
Provided they need therapy.
Okay, but either way, like, I guess my point is you may not be like equipped enough to know, like, I don't know, like people like bury things all the time, or it's just not like this, like you're going all the way to, oh, my life wasn't ruined and things like that. Like, I'm not saying, when I say effect, I'm not talking about like some ultimate dramatic effect.
But you're
I'm
not
talking
giving an
about,
example
like,
of what you are talking about.
because Kelsey just gave an example and he actually went through it. So instead of like me conjuring some bullshit example, I'm just being honest, saying I don't know, and then here Kelsey is with an actual example. So
Yeah, Kelsey, let's
why don't we let
elaborate.
him speak instead of like having me pull something, out of nowhere?
Well, I'm still gonna want you to in reference to me.
Okay. Okay, good luck with what you're gonna get.
Well,
But
then
let's hear from
why
Kelsey.
introduce it?
Because of what Kelsey's about to say.
Well, you didn't know what he was about to say before you introduced it.
No, and I admitted that I didn't. I admitted as much. Like,
Okay.
see, listen, we've had these discussions where people like pretend to know this and pretend to know that, and they always like want to win an argument, so they're always afraid to admit what they don't know. I'm admitting what I don't know. I'm just saying there could be something there, and like just because someone who's 44 now, who was 14 then, who didn't come up with his own ideas of something that may have affected him, I'm saying we can't just automatically be like, oh, okay, well, there's the answer. He said he doesn't know, so that must be it. I'm just saying, how do you know? Saying there, you could like bury things, or you could just like, just like have no idea.
Yeah,
We
but
have no idea. We're like
do do
affected
do,
by like
do
tons
you
of
know
stimuli.
do you know yourself at this point?
In some ways, yeah.
And do you know the things that affected you? The traumatic experiences or non-traumatic, or even do you understand at this point what has affected you?
I've got ideas, but I've never been to therapy. There's things I probably have forgotten about.
Well, I'm at a point as someone who has been to therapy, and not for that reason, but because I deployed in the military,
Okay.
where I know that was something that didn't affect me.
Okay, one way or the other, it had absolutely zero effect on you.
When I was 16,
An experience that
having
you
sex when
had,
I was 16,
an experience that you had in your life had zero effect on you.
having sex when I was 16.
Whatever the experience was, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have an adverse psychological effect on me. It may have had an effect, not an adverse one.
So, Kelsey, how do you view women now that you were, taken advantage of at 14? Well, he was going to start.
I don't view them like in a negative way or nothing like that. Like, I just think what it did for me, if it did do anything, it was, since that was like my breakthrough experience, that you kind of use that as your blueprint. So I think a lot of, well, not a lot, but select few girls that I've dealt with have gotten something that they probably weren't supposed to get.
What do you mean?
Like, like I said before, like for me just to have sex with somebody, it has to be something there. I have to know you. Like, it can't just be, we met each other at the club and, I'm bending you over an hour later. Can't be nothing like that. So, I think I've met people and gotten to know people that were probably of that mentality. So they got what I was taught, and it really wasn't meant for that type of a person. It was probably more meant for, the person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, or, I'm gonna be with. Not somebody I'm just gonna see for a moment and then,
So you think that experience has made you less of a hoe? Is that what you're saying?
Less of a hoe? I wouldn't say.
I'm not even a fan of the word. I don't think people can be one or the other without. I don't think a person can be a hoe or a slut.
That's kind of hard to answer because I don't know what you would consider. That would depend on what you would consider a hoe to be. You know,
Promiscuous.
well,
But
I'm
it
a
just
shy
puts a
person.
negative connotation on promiscuity.
Well, I mean,
I'm a
I
shy
feel
person.
like all are promiscuous.
Yeah, I'm a shy person. So, like, I have 4 children from 2 different women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, I was just telling my boys, like, for more than half my life, I've been in a relationship. I've probably been single a third of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like, to me, I'm a shy person, so I've never been the type I didn't date a lot. I didn't, do stuff like that. I wasn't chasing girls and nothing like that. At least I don't think I was. I kind of dealt with out of what paid attention to me. I pick and chose out of what paid attention to me. So, and I don't know if that's the effect that it had on me, that it made me more of an introvert as opposed to being an extrovert and, going out meeting people. But
Mm-hmm.
it made me a creative person. So I'm not happy.
That's a
I'm
good,
happy
that's
about
an
that.
interesting question though. Is like, I wonder, because I've always thought that like whether one is an introvert or an extrovert is kind of like a set thing. But I wonder if like, different experiences slash like environmental changes contribute to whether someone's an introvert or an extrovert.
It could be.
I feel like for some, no, that's a good question.
It could be.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I find like, I mean, like what I was saying before, like I was much more like introverted, shy, like kept to myself, like kind of like stereotypical nerd in high school. But like, I don't know that my personality as a whole has like really changed either way so much as like, just like
Do y'all think these things are based upon your first sexual experiences?
No.
no.
I think whether you're an introvert or extrovert is something that you're born with, but how you choose to live your life is something different. Because there are such things as like introverted extroverts. Like you've heard the term before, or is it the other way around? I'm sure
I think it's both.
ways.
I think
Yeah.
it's both.
Yeah.
But I think
But,
there's
like,
also like
A lot of introverts, when they hang out with people, they physically are drained of energy. I don't think that's something that you learn. That's biological. And some people feed off other people's energy. And again, that's something that's biological. So I think the way you grew up will probably affect whether you choose to let it affect you. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think I could speak kind of to that in the sense that like I would consider myself like thinking about myself, I would consider myself to be like an outgoing introvert.
Okay.
Even though those kind of
Okay, that's
sound like,
different.
No, that makes sense. Like you're introverted physically, chemically,
well, yeah,
hormonally,
I
I don't
mean,
know. But you choose to go out and make an effort and like talk to people. So
Well,
I think the difference is like an introvert still needs that time to regroup on their own. Like they actually need to have a certain amount of time on their
Yeah.
own, but that doesn't mean they don't
yeah, like I
enjoy the
need,
company of others.
Yeah.
like, just ask Corey. So like all the times when he's wanted to be talking, and I'm like, I'm sorry, this is my quiet time. I have to recharge right now.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's more like, I'm very shy about meeting new people. But like, if I know you, I'm like totally outgoing with you. Like, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, with familiar people, it's easier.
Well, yeah, but it's like, how do I describe it? Like, I'm not the kind of person who will go out and just start. Well, first of all, they actually have to be open, but go out to a bar and like, I mean, I'll go out to a bar, but I'll go to a bar with people I know and
Yeah.
talk to the people that I know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like the person who's like flitting around the bar, like just starting conversations with strangers.
Yeah.
Because I'm just too shy for that.
Yeah, that's too heavy for me.
Yeah, I think most people are introverts.
Most people?
Yeah.
think
There are
so?
some people where it comes totally natural to them to like
Well, even
just,
if you're
talk
like,
to everyone in the bar.
even if you're like natural, like conversing with people and being friendly and sociable, it doesn't mean that you're not an introvert. Because at the end of the day, like there are very few people that I know that can genuinely like keep going and going and going and never need alone time. Like they hate being by themselves.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
that's what
I don't
that's what
like
that
to be
means.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
ultimately,
think
you
that's what that means.
you start every relationship as an introvert. And you progressively, if you're outright just proactively an extrovert, then you become that during the course of dialogue, right? Or interaction. But you start the initial relationship as an introvert.
I mean, yeah, kind of like I think it's kind of also
I can agree with
like,
that.
it's kind of also like about building trust inside, like when you get to know somebody, because it's like, I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna talk heavy shit with people I just met most of the time, unless like that's very rare. So consider yourselves lucky.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like the difference is, right, like I feel like everyone needs to recharge to an extent, but like an extrovert, you might meet them the first day of work. They might be like introducing themselves to everyone. They might be like chatty. They don't really know people and they're saying what's up. Whereas an introvert might take a lot longer to warm up to people. And it might be like by the time they've been there, maybe for a few days or a week, now they're starting to like relax, kind of like.
Well, I mean, I think there are different levels of introverts, just like we were talking about, like extroverted introverts. Like those are the people who can, just strike a conversation with somebody and like be able to converse and and have it flow. But it doesn't mean that you're not truly an introvert. I don't know.
But I mean, but aren't we saying now that everyone, right? Isn't your position is that everyone's actually an introvert?
No, I'm not saying everybody. I think in my experience, I feel like most people are. At least people that I know.
I do too. I think most people are immediately introverts.
I mean, I think it's like a continuum, like that, like nobody is like a full 100% introvert and nobody is a full 100% extrovert, because like
I mean, they're not hard sciences.
Right. I mean, I think
say
what
as I
we're
age,
talking
I'm
about.
more of an introvert.
Right.
And are we talking old world or new world?
And we also got to keep in mind that, you know, different people react based upon interaction with different people. Someone who is an introvert today might interact or encounter someone that just brings something different out of them based on just their interaction.
Right, but we're talking
Absolutely.
about in general though, right? Like we're not going to use like an anomalous.
No, I am going to use it because that's what I'm talking about.
Right, but I'm saying that doesn't change. That doesn't like. It's like a different conversation if we're talking about how someone reacts to like a special person or a circumstance. Right?
Well, no,
like,
I didn't say special person or certain, just a person. It's not a different conversation. I'm just introducing another idea of introvert and extrovert. That's
But
all.
people react differently to
People
different
react differently
people.
to people. I didn't say anything about special or circumstance.
But it's like, I think what you're saying is like people react differently depending on like the combination of people.
Right.
Because there's some groups of people where I'm like, not getting near, can't say anything, too scared to say anything, not gonna talk. And then there's other people that I could like see exhibit A and talk to for hours. You know?
And there's
Very true.
situations where an introvert might be extroverted in a given situation because it's just their wheelhouse.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
yeah, that's definitely true.
That's a fact.
But also like it's like I'm not gonna be talking, like I could tell you right now I wouldn't be talking for hours. Like if we were in a bar and not on Zoom, I would have gone home 2 hours ago because I get like sick of like screaming over people and people like bumping into me and like
Yeah, it's
shit
draining.
like that. Whereas like now, like, you know, I'm laying on my couch, like,
Well, plus it's like
if I were to
plus-
characterize you just off of generalizing without knowing you intimately like I do, I would classify you as an introvert who can be extroverted given situations.
who, me?
Yes.
yeah, you.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, nothing you're saying is untrue, but I feel like that doesn't like change the fact of being an introvert. It just means that in certain situations, you know, I can switch it up. And then
Well, but think
definitely,
about it. If somebody were to observe you in every situation and only the situations where you were an extrovert, they would conclude you're an extrovert.
well, yeah, then they would have a scientifically flawed
Mhm.
observation.
It's not a hard science, though.
Yeah,
Like
but
a psychologist will tell you, it's not a hard
Yeah,
science.
it's
You
not.
talk about, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
I would still look at them and tell them they fucked up, and then I would tell them why. Right, and like you said,
Yeah, that's a
like
poor
definitely the wheelhouse thing is really important, right? Like, and I've been like this for a while. Like, you get me talking about music or certain things like that. You know, even at a young age, when I was
An extrovert.
even more introverted, I would start like talking. Right, that's just
Like I
the way it
were an
is.
introvert, but I didn't. When I met you, you were an extrovert to me. But I learned that you're actually, if from a psychological term, an introvert.
Where did we? Do you remember when we first met?
Yeah, but like we were partying and we did mushrooms and we're smoking weed and we were freestyling in my car. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that was the very
That's
first.
a whole
That was the
Yeah,
very
that was
first.
like the first time that I really interacted with you.
Oh, okay.
Because you were around the circle, but it was that long weekend of the art festival. The one weekend was the art festival. The next weekend was the Taste of Buffalo. We were all in
Okay.
Allentown. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I was looking for mushrooms, and we like freestyled for like hours in my car, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got
Yeah, we
shroomed up.
remember this very well.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Mike is a
That's
fan.
right.
It was
That's
a great time.
Those were
the
great
things
times.
I missed because I was probably 10 years old at the time.
And at that, you're an extrovert because you know we obviously were very comfortable around each other. It was me, you, and D.
Do you
know
remember,
what I mean?
you said the Allentown Art Festival and the Taste of Buffalo. Was the Allentown Art Festival Did that have live music going?
At night, recall that night, all of the like local record stores on out the turntables in the back of the stores and just had parties.
Okay. There was a place called Frank's at the end of Allen Street, and they had a backyard. They had their turntables. They used to have a cipher. They used to have a cipher where they would.
We went there.
Oh, okay. That was one of my favorite places.
Tribe was there, just chilling.
Okay.
And then we ended up at your house, shrooming.
Okay.
Damn.
We sat in my car and like freestyle.
Was that the night that
you were in the front seat and Dwayne was driving?
Was that the night that Maggie and KD, you were trying to get me to give One World Tribe our CD or something? Was that night? Was that the same day?
I don't know if Maggie was with us.
Okay.
You with Maggie hung out with us. I went
to
school with Maggie.
Okay, because there was a day when they were trying to get me to give them our CD, but I was like a little too, introverted to do it. I just like, they were like, come on,
I
man.
remember that too.
Yeah, I remember that because you were like, come on, give them the CD. Like, we're here for a reason,
I mean, you know what else I kind of noticed, like you mentioned, like, back in the day, like, whatever, like back in your 20s when you first started hanging out, like, I noticed kind of like the being an introvert versus being an extrovert. I don't know. I feel like it kind of changes with age too, because it's like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like, for example, like in my 20s, and I mean, Cynthia, you knew me for most of my 20s, and I feel like that, like in my 20s, I partied, and like now I'm just kind of like, and I mean, I wasn't crazy, like I've never done any drugs, like past weed, but like I partied, I was drunk all the time, like except when I had to do something important, like whatever, going out all the time. And now I feel like, I'm mid-30s, like I just want to lay around the house and not move. Like,
yeah, I mean, like
I don't
said
even
earlier,
drink anymore.
With age, I definitely feel like being an introvert is, or I'm becoming more introverted for sure. Like when I was younger, I would be like, yeah, let's continue, let's party. But now, like most weekends pre-pandemic, I would spend my weekends at home, like almost every weekend, and I love it.
I spend my weekends with Netflix.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. I'm like, why did I ever go out? It's so expensive to go out.
I've always been able to entertain myself by myself, but I think it ebbs and flows. Like when I was young, I was an introvert because when I was, before 13, I was certainly very introverted, had a lower self-esteem, like was a product of bullying, the whole nine. But when I became a teenager, it was the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just, for no reason, became very arrogant and conceited and was in my own head. Like, and I think that was like a defense mechanism for, how I grew up prior to then. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just that dude. And that was, and then that got to a certain age, especially in my 20s, it was bad. I was bad. I've said this before. I've alluded to this before. I wasn't a great person. I was bad person. But now, at a certain age, it's like, you're an introvert again. Like, who cares about, people? And I don't mean it in that sense, but it's like, I've always been able to just entertain myself. You know what I mean? KD knows. All my people used to be like, yo, Ish is an a-hole. Like, yo.
Well,
Katie, no, you remember when you took my car and was like, yo, I'm about an hour away? And I was surprised. I was like, what you mean? About an hour away? What are you talking about?
Well, people thought
hopefully that hour can be reduced to 6 minutes.
People thought you were an a-hole and people thought I was a stuck-up bitch. So there you go.
In high school?
You were stuck up? Oh, because you didn't talk to people.
Like, I think, like, people thought that I was, like, snotty and weird and that I thought that I was better than everybody else. And I mean, realistically, like, in some ways I was better than...
Damn.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, I did school better than, like, the majority of these people that would talk shit.
Oh, you mean academically you were better? I thought you meant like just as a person you were better.
No. I don't.
That's what I thought. It's like,
No, I mean, like, tangibly,
Oh,
academically.
you just knew you were on a higher intelligence level.
You knew you were hot shit, is what you're saying.
It's like,
yeah. Let's see the cat while she's talking.
it's like I knew I was like I was smart and I knew I was smart, so I was kind of arrogant about it. Like I was very like picky about who I was friends with and stuff too. Like I did not like I thought I was better than like a lot of the other girls in the school.
Where are they
Hold on. Breaking news. So the president finally admitted that the pandemic is worse than what they've been saying, and he's suggesting that wear a mask
Let's
if
see
you
if
can
people
social
change.
distance.
Oh, yeah, he's been saying that for a day or two now.
Let's see if that sticks.
He's been.
I wonder why. Probably because of the election.
Yeah, I don't know
He
where
knows
that
people
came
are
from.
mad at him.
I
Yeah,
mean,
don't
he
know
should
where that-
say it. He should say it.
He also got mad and tweeted some angry shit on Twitter. That,
What else is new?
That because the Giants kneeled during the anthem.
The
San
the
Francisco?
baseball team.
No, the football team.
The
When did
football
they
team's
play?
off season.
I mean,
though.
the baseball team.
Yeah.
He got mad about that.
Yeah, he tweeted some angry stuff.
I mean,
What
what did he
else
think
is
was going to
new?
happen?
I don't know what he was expecting.
I don't think it's a good idea to play the Black National Anthem before games.
I don't
The
think
Black
baseball's
National Anthem?
not doing that though. That was football.
Yeah,
that
football's
said they
talking
were
about
going to do
doing it.
that.
Which I think is just inviting trouble. Like it's not the nation's official national anthem, and people are going to reject it.
I
They're
mean,
probably gonna be
baseball is also
confused. They're probably gonna
playing
be
without
confused at
fans.
first, not know what it is.
Yeah.
But whatever. The regular national anthem had its day.
I don't think it should be
might as well mix
replaced
it.
by the Black National Anthem. I think we should definitely, I mean, if you listen to the entire national anthem and all of the verses that they don't sing, I mean, it certainly supports slavery,
Yeah.
you know, and
It's
I
quite racist.
I think it should certainly be we should have a new one that represents everyone.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I'm 100% for that. Having a new national anthem that is representative of everyone in our country. I
Yeah,
think
because the current one
You
is
should
not.
write it.
nah,
Well, I mean, maybe the black one
it's
does
pretty boring,
represent-
right?
Maybe the black one does represent everyone. Wait, which one's boring?
The one that we have. And I
Well, so
Loved.
here's a hot take.
lift every voice and sing. Go on.
Yeah, here's a hot take, and this is this doesn't just come from me. Musically speaking, lift every voice is kind of rough, and the original one is superior musically speaking.
Lift every voice.
Yeah,
Oh, the original national anthem is superior from a music perspective.
musically, yeah.
Yeah, no argument.
Yeah.
But Voice, and if sung by the right person, it's great. The reason why I wouldn't recommend Lift Every Voice to replace our national anthem is because it is known as the Black national anthem, and I think that's divisive, and not for negative reasons, just because it doesn't, it says Black national anthem, and it's like, well, we have Latinx people, we have white people, we have
All
Asian
lives
people, we have
matter.
Jewish people. You know what I mean? We like I'd rather just something brand new that represents everyone, even though I love Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Right.
I have nothing against it. I just don't want anything that may feel like people aren't accounted for, or may be divisive, or you know what I mean. I listen. I want people to unite. You know what I mean? Like that's to get to. You know what I mean? And if something as trivial as that can cause people to stay divided, then I can just say, you know what? I don't need it to be the Black national anthem. Let's write something new for everyone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So in other words, you can finally admit that that not all of us suck.
I don't think people suck inherently. I mean, I think all people suck. I think all people suck. I think people just suck, and that we're all hypocrites. What I always believe, though, is that there are good representations of every culture. People who just genuinely want to be good and genuinely want to do the right thing.
So you're saying there are good white people? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, for sure.
Well, and it really, I can to speak from that to speak on that perspective. Like, I think that really depends on how, like, quote unquote, what makes a good white person is it's how you're raised at home and how your parents teach you to respect other people in general. Because I was always taught that, like, people are people, you know what I mean? And we always talked about, like, issues of race in the house growing up, even though...
Your mom's a bigot?
No. Even though there were barely any...
That was a joke.
I know.
Sorry, Miss Grace.
But, like, even, like, you know, even though there were not that many people in town who were not white, like my family still talked about those issues, and I feel like a lot of families just, like, sweep it under the rug, and that's why we get, like, I guess for lack of a better term, white ignorance.
Yeah, I could see people just choosing not to talk about it at all, thinking that that like would work.
It's the ostrich syndrome. If you don't see it, it isn't there.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, is this an example of white flight? Like, I have a friend whose family, they did their genealogy and they found out their family owned slaves. And it is not something that they want to talk about ever. You can't even bring it up.
I mean, they're embarrassed.
I mean, yeah, but they didn't.
Like,
is this white flight? I don't know.
But what do you mean when you say?
I think
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
White people move away from their black neighbors.
Yeah, I know.
Is white flight white guilt? Is that the same thing?
Maybe fragility.
Okay. All right, fragility. Because I didn't know, like, if there was like a broadened definition, or if you know what I mean. That's why I was asking. I didn't know.
Yeah, it might be white fragility.
Well, yeah, and I think I get the sense that in that case, it's like those specific people are so embarrassed to talk about it that they just want to pretend it didn't happen.
And it's like, and then you have the Tomlinson's documentary, right? Which I just love. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Tomlinson documentary.
No.
Sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
It's the football player LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay.
He's from Tomlinson Hill, right? And Tomlinson Hill is this town where many of the people, white and black, are Tomlinsons. And it was a slave town, and Tomlinsons owned Tomlinsons. And so the documentary has LaDainian Tomlinson, the football player, going back to his town, and he's sitting down talking to an older white man and his family who owned his family. And at one point, obviously the bloodlines cross because there are black and white Tomlinsons in Tomlinson Hill. You understand what I'm saying? And so, the documentary is just there's a book based on it. It's just a very, very profound documentary where these two families come together, talk, you know what I'm saying, explore the idea that, yes, at one point, not only did we own you, but there was probably rape that took place. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's related to this white family. It's Mike, you should check it out. If they did a snippet of it 2 years ago during the NFL season of 30 for 30, but there's a full documentary and a book about the Tomlinson Hill and the Tomlinsons, which to me was just really profound, because here's this black football player who goes home to his hometown of Tomlinson Hill. You know what I mean? His name is LaDainian Tomlinson, and he meets members of his family who owned members of his family. Well, they didn't, but their ancestors owned members of his family.
I'll be back in 1 sec.
One.
And would it be genetic coincidence that he's like one of the best running backs in NFL history?
Well, I believe it would be genetic breeding program. Like that's what slavery was, right? Like we're not breeding like weak people with weak people, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they just didn't do that.
Drank that whole bottle.
Someone's drinking alcohol?
A whole bottle.
No, now you're opening the next one. Oh, you moved it from one bottle to another bottle.
What's that?
Tony should have come say hi. Yeah.
What am I missing? Hey, Cynthia, did you show us the cat?
I did.
Oh, okay, I didn't see. So maybe the video, I'll see it on the video. Every time you're on, you have to show us, make sure the cat makes an appearance. Just like Sam, make sure the bird makes an appearance. Oh, okay.
Yeah, when the bird hasn't been cooked.
What's the cat's name?
John Snowden.
Oh, you know nothing, John Snowden. You know nothing, John
His cat's
Snowden.
name is John Snowden.
She looked at that cat and was like, "You know nothing, John Snowden."
No, for context as to what just happened.
I would have named the cat Arya Stark. I still would have named it. Arya Stark was a boy for a long time on that show too.
For context, Cynthia, what just happened, Cynthia and everybody else, what just happened is that Misha walked into the room holding an entire, holding an empty bottle of Hennessy, which I know he left 2 hours ago to go buy Hennessy. So here I am thinking that he's drank this entire bottle of Henny in a night. It turns out he just moved it to a different bottle that was easier, an empty bottle that was from earlier that was easier to close.
Easy access, huh?
Why did he go out to buy a bottle of Hennessy? Was he drinking?
To drink it? Oh.
Are we talking about Hennessy?
Why else would you buy a bottle of Hennessy? If you're not going to drink it?
Mouthwash.
Pour out
You
for
put
the
on your
homies.
bar just to show off.
Pour some out for the homies.
Antiseptic.
Gift.
No, I
Gift.
don't need any more juice.
A gift.
Antiseptic.
A gift for somebody.
Tell Misha to say hi. I haven't seen him in so long.
He walked away.
Misha, do you exist?
Is it raining over there, Ish?
Let me look outside. If it was, I'd be right out in it.
We got the, what's the rain smell called?
They're like, he's on his porch in his boxer briefs. No, there's no.
Oh, it just started raining.
Is that an actual possibility?
What's that?
Being on the porch in
I was just
Dressed
on the
like
porch
that?
I was just on the porch in my boxer briefs.
What's the smell called? What's it called? Petrichor or something? What's the smell of rain?
You
Wet
know,
concrete.
I didn't know
What's
that.
that?
I never knew it. There is a distinct smell. I couldn't tell you. I never knew that there
Yeah, it's called petrichor.
I always think of it as like wet concrete smell for some reason.
smells
Yeah, I
great.
kind of know
I
what you
love it.
mean.
Yeah.
I love the
I think
smell.
of it as wet plant smell.
Yeah,
my favorite
that's,
weather.
Yeah, it's the petrichor is the term coined by Australian scientists in 1964 to describe the unique earthy smell associated with rain.
My favorite weather. Great smell.
I
And
hate
it's
the rain,
also,
though, unless I'm only inside.
Ozone, geosmin, and plant oils.
I'm always
And
out when
soil.
it's raining. I do
I can
kind of smell
the
it.
dirt.
I smell
the
it.
dirt. I can smell the dirt right now
I smell it as well.
because I got the fan like blowing in from the outside.
It does smell like it's gonna rain. I don't see any clouds though. It might blow in. I love how dark my back porch is.
If only we could see.
What's that?
If only we could see.
How dark my back porch is? I can't because the way I'm dressed.
You don't have to face it towards yourself.
Well, you wouldn't be able to see anything. It would just be dark.
You don't have porch lights?
I just don't have them on because I went out on the porch.
Well, aren't you picky, Cynthia?
Oh, that's right. You guys don't get back porches in New York City.
Well, some people do,
Some people
depending on where you
do.
live. Depending on where you live.
I'm not one of those people, but I do, in fact, know what a back porch is.
You live in an apartment building?
Yeah.
You live in an apartment building as well, Cynthia?
Mm-hmm.
And you, Mike?
Yeah, but I have there's like backyards in the back, and there's what do you call those? What do you call the stairs? The emergency.
Fire escapes?
Yeah, the fire escapes.
I used to have a backyard.
I haven't seen a fire escape in years. Years since I was like a kid. That's weird. I just forgot about fire escapes until just now.
Yo, Mike,
It's not a thing in Buffalo anymore.
Do you use the fire escape for entrance?
No. I mean, can I?
Yeah, could you?
I'd have to look all the way down and see if it goes all the way,
Well,
see if it goes all the way down.
fire escapes are not a thing in a lot of buildings, though. Even in New York, like there's no fire escapes, like in the projects, for example.
Yeah.
Really? Not even like Queens?
No, not in housing authority, not in NYCHA buildings. They have like 5 sets of steps that smell really bad, but
Yeah, because people pee in the stairs.
Yeah, man. Those, some of those buildings are really like sad. Like some of those buildings depress the hell out of me. And sometimes it's just like, sometimes it's not even the inside, it's the outside. Just like so much dog shit. And some of these buildings, like, no, like,
Man,
just
I'm
like
pouring some
around the
Joda,
front, just
and
like
you're
around
talking
the
about dog
perimeter.
poop.
Around the Joda? Soda?
Juice and soda.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. Some of those buildings are rough.
well, no, I mean, it doesn't have to be public housing for the building to be like dirty, though. Like,
Well,
No,
no,
it's
it
just
doesn't
more
have to be, but
I mean, I've seen
those
people.
are some of the worst ones, though.
I mean, yeah, but there've been points where like people have kind of treated my building in a similar fashion. Like we've definitely had like the pee in the elevator and stuff like that.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Peas inside.
I mean,
I feel
I
like
think
that's got to be someone who doesn't live in a building doing it.
Well, I also don't know if
definitely.
it's a person that was doing it because I didn't see them do it. Like I know I've had neighbors, like our elevator takes forever to come if it decides to come at all. And and I know like some people, like when they're taking their dogs out, like I've seen like their dogs nearly have an accident because they live on like the 6th floor and like the elevator takes forever to get there. And either way, it's going to take them forever to run down the stairs too, and the dogs just can't hold it. I mean, I don't know. That's why I don't have a dog in an apartment, because I couldn't imagine like having to take a dog out from the 7th floor in a building where the elevator decides to work when it wants to.
I mean, it's not bad if you don't wait till your dog is about to burst to take it out.
Yeah, but dogs can't talk. They
I
have
mean, but they
accidents.
communicate to you that they got to
Oh
use the
yeah,
bathroom.
that's true. They communicate to you that they gotta go.
As long as you keep them on a schedule, they'll go at the same time every day.
Exactly. Dogs are good doggies.
Some dogs like to go stand by the door and walk in
Oh yeah,
circles and let you know, like, listen.
some dogs stand by the door and bark.
Yep.
I mean, these are only like well-trained dogs. I've definitely lived with a dog that